Greetings, I am Samael the Reaper, and you're listening to the Dragon Between podcast, a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign set in the Eberron pulp fantasy setting by Keith Baker. New episodes are recorded every Sunday and released on the following week. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel for clips and future episodes. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter for updates and news on the podcast. Thanks for listening, and remember, I am watching you.
When the characters last met, their paladin friend Samael had suddenly collapsed after a strange weapon burst from his chest. After healing Samael's wound, the party decided to disguise themselves as red-robed cultists before continuing on to the Calliston district. The group then headed south through the tenement districts until they reached a wig shop called Dandymops, the suspected hideout for a necromancer called Losser. The party found the shop closed with a locked iron gate protecting the entrance. Nicholas and Zito worked on gaining entrance while the group encountered a curious child who mentioned the bad people in the sewers. The characters finally entered the shop and began investigating, discovering that the shop was apparently run by a man called Losser Merklav. The party descended into the basement, finding a locked door at the rear of the shop. Nicholas once again used his skills to defeat the lock and open the way into the stinking sewers below Calliston. Byron led the way, following strange sounds echoing from the tunnels. The ranger eventually found a door leading into a cellar complex with a decapitated body laying just within. The group found a gang of Kinku menacing a halfling who was revealed to be Losser. A battle ensued as the party dealt with the gang and their pet Gazer. Samael and Nicholas then followed after a Kinku who had apparently escaped with a stone in hand. The Kinku led the duo on a chase south through the Calliston district, falling to Nicholas's magic. A second Kinku appeared shortly thereafter, and the chase continued on to a rundown tower at the edge of the district. The creature then took a hostage before ducking inside. The characters split up, with Zito and Zara hurrying to the old tower to help out Samael and Nicholas, while the rest of the party stayed with Losser. Upon entering the tower, the party found the Kinku on the upper level, clutching the stone in hand, and the child in another. The child, the recently encountered younger female child, struggled free from the Kinku and scrambled away as 6 Gazers suddenly floated into the tower through the windows and began to attack the party. The battle raged on until Nicholas ended it with a final bead from the fireball necklace he possessed, destroying all but 1 Gazer. The floating creature used its telekinetic ability to take the stone and exited the tower. The creature then began flying off towards a waiting sky coach hovering above the streets of Calliston. Nicholas and Zara emerged from the tower windows just in time to see a red-robed figure standing on the bow of the sky coach. The figure then threw back its hood and revealed itself to be Bryn, the shifter sorcerer.
Once I collected the keys from the dead necromancer, did he have anything else?
We will get to that, but we're actually in the midst of a situation here where I need an instant response from both Nicholas and Zara. Nicholas and Zara, upon seeing the familiar face of your friend Bryn, what do you do?
I'm gonna pull out my crossbow.
Okay, gonna pull out your crossbow? Yeah. Well, in that case, you've already rolled initiative. Zara, you also rolled initiative, correct?
Yes, I'm also gonna pull out my crossbow.
Okay.
As I'm, lighting into the air towards him.
Fair enough. Let me share a map with you, then. And I'm going to share it with all of you guys because it's hard to just drag and drop to everyone. We'll see if Fantasy Grounds decides to crash on us. All right, so Nicholas, you are floating outside of the. You're floating outside of the tower now, and you see this ship hovering many feet above the streets, and you see this red robe figure in this distance, and you can see the gazer is floating towards it.
Hold on, the map is still loaded.
No worries.
Can I see the gem? Stone?
Make a perception check. It is kind of far away from you, and it is small.
There. Did it show up?
Nothing's come through yet.
There we go. 17.
Okay. So, hovering just a foot away from the head of this bulbous green meatball, you see a slowly spinning, smooth gray object right next to it. The gazer itself is approximately, I'd say it's approximately 20 feet in the air right now. And it's coming up to the bow of the ship to meet the red robe Bryn.
Can I grab the bag of holding off my back?
The bag of holding, which is next to you right now? That's on your back?
Yeah, the one that's on my back. Can I grab that?
Well, it would take your action to pull something out of it.
Oh, I wasn't gonna pull anything out of it. I was gonna grab it, fly over to the stone, and put the stone inside the bag and fly back.
Okay. What's your
without touching the stone?
What is your movement?
On the disc?
Yeah, on the disc. What's your minimum?
I think 50 it said, fly speed of 50.
Okay, so you'd have to get right up next to the gazer to get it.
Okay.
So, first off, you have to get it away from him. So, you're going to make a skill check for me.
Alright.
So, we'll say that to snatch it out of the air, I need you to make a dexterity check.
Okay. Big money. Just a regular ability check?
It's a dexterity ability check, correct.
Alright. Big money. 21.
Okay. All right. Nicholas, you're now holding the Stone of Galore in your hand, and the gazer is turning to stare at you and angrily looking at you in your face.
Can I throw it in the bag?
If that's what you wish to do with your action, you may put it in the bag.
Yep. And as my bonus action, I'm going to dash.
Okay.
That will get an opportunity attack because I'm not disengaging. I don't have enough.
So it's going to make that's what you're saying. It's going to make an. Gotcha.
Yep. I cannot disengage because I have to dash.
Okay. Let me just see something. Oh, okay. Cool. You're taking an opportunity attack, all right, from two things.
Oh, okay.
So the first opportunity attack, we'll say from the gazer, he's going to attempt to bite you. Okay. The first opportunity attack is a miss. So as you reach out and grab the stone out of the air, the creature turns around and you hear this little shriek, and it tries to bite at you. You hear the sound of the teeth snapping together. And then you hear something else. You hear the sound of what sounds like creaking. And Zara, you see something come off of the sky coach and take a swipe at Nicholas.
What does it look like?
It's kind of looks like a tentacle. And it just This tentacle flies off the side of the ship and attempts to swipe at him, but just manages to whiff past his ear. You felt the air from that attack, Nicholas.
Whoa.
As you begin flying back towards the tower. Now, I assume you'd wish to go into the tower?
Yes.
Okay.
And there, I will end my turn.
Okay. Now, the window is too narrow for you to go through on your sled. So
Yeah.
in order to get through the window, I'm gonna need you to make a dexterity check. Another one. Actually, you can make an acrobatics check on this one.
Alright.
Okay.
16.
You just manage to leap off of it and fall through the window, and you fall 6 feet onto a very surprised looking Samael. And that was your turn.
I like to think Samuel like kind of caught him. Maybe, I don't know.
I did with my face.
On Bryn's turn. On Bryn's turn, he is going to suddenly, Zara, you hear the familiar sound of Bryn say, "Wait, don't go, come back."
Zara's gonna mutter under her breath, "You coward."
And let's see. And then Bryn looks over in your direction, Zara, from just hovering just outside of this window. And let's see. He casts what the hey. Make a Constitution saving throw.
Alright. Hey, that's a 20.
Okay. So you watch as suddenly Bryn begins moving his hands around in a ball, and a sphere of yellow nauseating gas hurls out and blasts right over where you're located. And I will reveal it to you on the map. There we go.
Oh, boy.
So you had just enough time to catch your breath and the cloud is enveloping the whole side of the tower. You were jammed right in the middle of it. You had just enough time to go and suck in a gasful of air. So you are not poisoned right now.
Okay. Does it look like it's entering into the building? You know, I'm seeing this and I'm like holding my nose.
It is billowing through the windows, but it's not filling the chamber. Right now it seems, from what you can see where you're at right now, well, actually you can't really see much of anything. You just see a yellow fog that just burst into your face. And then you hear a familiar sound of Bryn say, "I want you to rain all of the 9 hells down upon that tower." Through the fog, out above in the sky coach. You hear him say that. And Zara, it's your turn.
She's right out of the window. She's like, "Hey guys, we're in for a doozy," and she's going to
Whoops.
What is she
Yeah,
gonna do?
there we go. So Zara, let's see. At the start of your turn, I need you to make another Constitution save.
At the beginning of my turn?
Correct. You are holding your breath. Okay.
That's 12.
Okay.
I mean, I can't move out of it first?
Let's see. You must spend your entire action retching as you couldn't hold your breath any longer. You caught it went up into your nose, tickled your nose, and you took in a whole lungful of this stuff. So you must spend your entire action, unfortunately, doing nothing but retching.
Okay. Ugh. Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, don't breathe.
So let's see. Gosh, I suppose I should roll for the gazer. I didn't even roll for his initiative. Whoopsie. So Samael, you see this mist, this yellow miasma is starting to waft through the narrow windows. You see Nicholas leap through the window and tumble off to the side. What are you doing?
I am backing away towards the stairs, and since Nick and Zara seem to be in all kinds of trouble, and I'm going to get on my ring and communicate to Byron and Brunhild that we need them here now.
Okay.
And I'm going to move back towards this.
And you're heading downstairs?
I'm going to stay at the entrance of them, but I'm not heading downstairs.
Okay. What about Zito?
Zito's gonna move over to one of the windows.
Okay.
Can I see any of them?
Unfortunately, the window is 6 feet above you.
What if I stand on the table?
It would still be, let's see, the table is approximately your height. Well, yeah, I would say it was just under your height. So you can just see out on your tippy toes, you can just see out the window. And looking out the window, you look out into, you see a building. You don't see any people, but you can see, looking out, just out the edge, you can smell this horrible smell. And it is currently, it seems to be wafting around the edges of the tower. And you don't see anything else.
All
You
right.
can't, from where you're at, standing on your tippy toes, you can't see the airship. You can't see anyone from there. All you heard is just the sound, what sounded like someone yelling from outside, very, very faintly. And you saw Nicholas and Zara leap out the window, and then Nicholas come back through the window.
Alright. Then I'll use my action to call forth my familiar.
Okay.
And it acts on its own initiative, so how do I roll for my familiar's initiative?
Well, do you have the stats for your familiar?
I was able to pull up the Raven for it, but there's nothing for initiative.
Does it say it acts on your initiative?
On its own initiative.
Oh, on its own initiative. Okay. Well, let's see. Well, I will share this sheet with you so that you can roll. If you want to add it to the, I'll add it to the combat tracker. There you go. Should be able to see it now, and then I will drop it onto your character sheet so that you can manipulate it. There's a single raven with 1 hit point. And so you send it out, and you send it out flying towards the ship.
Yeah, I'll send it up flying.
Okay. The moment that the raven flies towards the ship, you looking through its eyes, you see several creatures emerging from the edges of the ship. And one of them fires at your raven. If I can find him in the... Ah, there he is. Oh, it actually missed. That's hilarious. Well, the other ones will go ahead and attack your raven as well. I guess I should put him on the combat... Or, since I put him on the combat tracker, I will put him on the... map.
For future reference, where do you put my familiar on my character sheet?
It's not on your character sheet. It's like treated like it's a spell. Find familiar. So I would have to save it for you to throw it in the combat tracker when you use it.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so put it on the map. That tiny little dot will be your raven. There you go. How far can it fly?
50 feet.
Okay. So we'll say that it got about there, and you watched as these multi-armed goblin-like creatures all pulled out double crossbows and began firing at it. So we'll see if it can hit it. It is a tiny thing.
You trying to get bonuses for not being so small?
Not to my knowledge.
I think that's an optional rule.
And you see a bolt suddenly and instantly come straight at your face, and your vision is gone, and your raven is blinked out of existence, back into the Feywild.
Oh, that's too bad.
And at this point, if you and Samael would like, you can roll initiative.
I love how my initiative never changes. It just stays at the bottom.
It's the curse of the keeper, man.
Yeah, really.
So quickly we transition back before we go into the next round of combat proper. Transitioning back to the cellar complex. Brunheld, you watch as Byron is rifling through Losser's robes.
Oh, am I able to find anything other than the keys he had in the second?
Yes. You found a spellbook and a pouch full of gold.
I'll just put it in the bag for now.
Let's see. You got Oh my goodness. 18 gold. Losser was apparently kind of broke after he paid those red robe guys. Apparently he wasn't very rich. So I will drop this into your inventory, sir. And Byron and Brunhild, what are you doing other than rifling through this man's belongings?
Have we got any word from them?
To my knowledge, no one has attempted to yell to you, to either one of you, for assistance.
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay, well then, yes. Samael has yelled to you all and said, hey, come help us.
No, I yelled, help, we're under attack. Help, oh my...
I'll start heading out and ask what location. I need a building name so I can get there.
We're south of the giant tower. You can't miss it. There's a giant airship full of humanoids outside attacking us. Look for the giant yellow mustard.
Look for the chemical warfare.
As I heard, it was giant and he cut off. He must be in trouble. Brunhild, we have to get on.
Sounds good to me.
Look out for the giant mustard.
So the two of you...
We'll head out into the street.
Okay, so the two of you are heading up the stairs that you watch Samael, Byron, Zara, and Zito run up, and you're heading out into the streets of Caliston, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Let's see. So, let's see who goes next. All right. So, Byron, on your turn, you move your full movement through the streets of Caliston, running towards the direction your friends gave you.
Okay.
Okay. And on the Gazer's turn, the Gazer goes and immediately begins flying straight up in the air and is gone. And Nicholas, it is your turn. You just ducked through the window and rolled to the side. Zara is not in the chamber with you. And there's this yellow miasma which is leaking into the chamber and beginning to fill the 20-foot tall dome above you all.
But has it affected me?
So far, it doesn't seem to be affecting you. It seems to be wafting in and up towards the ceiling.
Alright. I'm gonna run to the other side of the chamber.
For some reason, that's trying to move as well. Did not mean to.
I am going.
There we go.
I am going to try to climb up that window.
Okay, it's 6 feet above you, so you can do that. With a simple athletics check.
Right.
Actually, no. You can just pull yourself up if as part of your movement. You can pull yourself up.
All right. I'll pull myself up. I'll get to there, and then it says that I can use the sled 3 times a day. I'll use it for the last time of the day,
Okay.
and I'll fly down to on this side. Is there a crowd around?
You looking off in the distance, you don't see anyone around you right now, but you can hear the din of the crowd, and you remember the crowd within the streets that was milling about before you got to Old Tower.
I'm going to I'm going to use my bonus action to dash
Okay.
into the crowd and hide. And
Well,
on the ring, I'm going to say, guys, get out of there, get out of there.
Well, there's people, so you're flying down to the ground and then moving
Yeah.
that way. Okay.
Yep.
Are you moving through the cloud? Or are you moving around it?
You mean through the crowd?
No, through the cloud, which is currently enveloping the tower.
No, I'm not. Around it.
Okay, so how far can you move with your dash?
Another 30.
And your movement. Okay, so go ahead and indicate where you would like to be on the map. I don't have a second map for you, so that you can just be somewhere else.
I was gonna move. I was at like off the map. I was gonna move off the map 30 feet to
Okay.
the right.
He's saying that he's going to disengage and run away.
Yeah,
okay.
basically.
All right. Well, in
That's
that
what I'm
case, well, in that case,
that's that. Get out of there, run, everyone! I got the stone.
In that case, I will make you invisible, and you are currently no longer in combat. Nicholas has run off, leaving behind his wife to choke in a cloud of yellow gas.
He doesn't even know I'm there.
It's true.
So.
It's true. Okay. That completes your turn, Nicholas.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Zara, on your turn, make another Constitution saving throw.
All right. She's like, it's a little hard. Please help me. Oh, it's another 11.
Would you like to use a hero point?
I would.
Okay.
That's 14.
You manage moving. That's where you want to move. Out there, 35 feet.
No, I didn't put myself there.
Okay, I'm not sure who did that. What would you like to do? Currently,
Zara would like to. She's gonna fly off the building, like definitely out of range of the gas.
Okay.
Onto the ground, into the crowd, and then be like, Nick, where are you? You need help. Where?
Okay. I keep hearing this word crowd. Let me just sort of simplify it. There's no large group of people that are congregating close to where you guys are. Where you're at now, where there's no one on the map, there is no one there. There are people far off in the distance that look like they're starting to like take notice of this giant airship. But there are no people like immediately right there in front of the tower or near the airship.
She will run towards where she starts seeing people.
Okay.
Hoping that that's where Nick would try to find cover, and she's going to try to find him and see if he. And she's going to say also, everyone, to the ground, follow us into the crowd where there's people.
Okay.
And then
so go ahead and indicate on the map which direction you'd like to move.
Okay. Which way does she start seeing people?
Well, which way would you like to move out of the cloud? Because you can't see anything. You felt the tower at your back?
I'll move there, not where it says the 35 feet, but 20 feet towards the opposite side, yes.
Okay.
And I'm actually I'm still gonna hover though. I'm not gonna go on the ground. I'm just gonna try to make its way as fast as I can towards where I see.
Okay. Now, are you moving closer towards the edge of where the tower and the valley end, or are you moving towards the east?
Which way do I start seeing towns, like more townspeople, a market, something like that?
You can see off in the distance more buildings. You see more people scattered off walking along the road and along the edge of the bridge, the edge of the platform.
So whatever direction that is on the map, that's the way I'm going.
Okay, so for all intents and purposes then, Zara, you are gonzo. You are no longer in the initiative.
Protect Nick. Everyone, find Nick and protect.
Okay.
And that's it. And my turn.
All right. Samael, it is your turn.
Okay, seeing that cloud moving into the building, I'm gonna move over there toward. And I'm gonna ask Zito. Zito, if I get you over that window, can you get down safe?
Yeah, I can get both of us down safely.
Cool. What you think?
What'd you say?
What are you thinking? What's your plan?
You jump out the window with me and I cast Featherfall.
I'm gonna snatch Zito up and I'm gonna run towards this window.
Okay.
Epic.
So Samael, you're running towards the window. The window is 6 feet above you. You want to boost him out.
Yep, I'm gonna boost him up.
Okay. So that was your action to boost him out the window.
Yep.
And you can use your movement to pull yourself up onto the ledge and out.
Okay. Then I would.
It's not his turn yet, though, so he can't cast Featherfall on you. So right now, Zito...
Featherfall is a reaction spell.
It is a reaction? Okay.
It is.
So...
Then I jump.
Alright, well then, leaping out the window, the two of you slowly fall down to the ground. It's approximately 20 feet.
Zito, when we hit the ground, go ahead and move towards the direction everybody else is going in. I'm not sure where they're at. Stay in touch with them, let them know something. I'm gonna go back and try to lure these guys.
Wait, what direction did they go in? I saw Nick run off in one direction. I haven't seen Zara.
I don't know, but Nick went out the window right through the side of us, and knowing him, he just kept running as fast as he could. So whichever direction that window's facing, go in that direction, you'll probably find him. Maybe unconscious.
Alright, I'll take a look out for Nicholas.
Yeah, you're smarter than me. You'll figure it out.
Alright. Okay, so Samael, you are currently outside on the ground. Zito, on your turn, you wish to run away?
Yeah, I'll go off looking for Nicholas.
Okay. Well, in that case, Zito, you are no longer part of the combat. And Samael, you had some movement left. Did you continue on, or are you staying where you're at?
I'm staying where I'm.
Okay.
Well, it depends. Do I see any gray stones on the ground about the size of the stone of galore? Just a regular.
No, but you can hear a strange crackling noise now coming from the sky coach. And as you peek around the corner, you watch as bolts of lightning begin arcing off of him, off of the this red-robed individual. And you watch as he reaches out and strikes the tower with lightning. And a third of the building immediately crumbles and collapses. And you just hear this primal scream. And you just hear, "What are you doing? You let them get away! Quickly, after them!" And the sky coach begins to arc up into the air, out over the crowd, and begins zooming away towards the southeast. And you guys are out of combat.
Damn, I was hoping to pull on the other.
Brunhild and Byron, you watched as you got closer, ever so closer towards this sky coach, which was hovering. You just watched this elemental attack blast the side of this old crumbling tower and a whole chunk of the tower just collapses, and you watch as this vehicle zooms off into the distance and is gone.
Technically, they would have heard us talking about following Nick.
True, but Nick is also sneaking.
I'm gonna look through the
Right.
ring. Hey guys, hey, head back to the sewers. And I will
To the
double
end?
back and stay stealthily and head back to where the sewers were.
Okay, roll a stealth check for me there, Nicholas. So you're asking them to regroup back where the cellar complex was?
30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Nick is
Nick is invisible. Pulling out all the stops.
Yeah. All these high rolls that went our way this time. Holy crap.
I feel like he goes around like pulling people's hats off while he's at it.
Nicholas,
and that's why we have a stealth.
Nicholas shows up with a brand new outfit.
So I'll head back to the sewer and go down, and I'll wait where the necromancer died. And I'll wait and for everybody else.
Okay. I will go ahead and share a map and throw you guys on it. So you all trudge through the sludge and make your way back to Losser Merklev's cellar complex.
Yeah.
We'll just walk down the stairs where we were.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through the door that I exited out of. I ain't going back.
All right. I will go ahead.
That's what I was thinking too. I went to the door that we ran out of, the back door.
All right. I shared the map with you guys. You can throw yourselves on the map wherever you like.
All right.
Well, there appears to be a keg of some.
Well, I'm waiting for you guys.
Oh boy. I don't think we're safe here anyway.
Are any of these kegs drink?
You can roll an investigation check and find out.
Oh, great! I'm liable to start drinking turpentine.
Yeah, the mage here, he had this book on him, a spell book of some type, and he's trying to summon some more creatures, he said, to protect him, so I had to do what I need.
Oh, all right.
Well, no one's gonna fault you.
What's the plan?
How are we getting back?
I don't know. We're not really safe anywhere. Is there any way we can put it into something that can be tracked or?
Let me put this stone in your bag there, Nicholas.
I mean, right now it's in the bag of the holding, so I don't think you can really track it.
Well, we can't go back to the manor, so we gotta find someplace to lay low. We can lay low here or find another location.
Do you think it's safe here, though? I mean, are the undead still around, or?
I know where we can keep the stun. If anybody wants to hear.
Where, Samael?
We can take a bag of holding and just deposit it in my safe box over.
Not a bad idea. That's about the church. I was thinking about
No, it's not a church. It's actually a real bank, not with the regular church.
No. I was thinking about going to Manchun.
So, Derek, as you feel this overwhelming wave of nausea hit you, and your stomach begins to cramp. And you start to feel a little like you're getting the sweats.
feel kind of sick.
Zara immediately takes the bag away from him.
Zara,
She's kind of
Good.
Zara,
Check
you,
the sun.
Zara, you start to feel sick.
And Samael immediately takes the bag from her.
Samael, you feel right as rain.
Who was it?
In fact, I need. Let's see. I need Zara, Nicholas, Brunhild, Byron, and Zito to all make a save for me. Give me 1 second, and I will tell you what kind of save you're making. You'd think they would make it easy for you to find this information. Alright, here we go. Sorry for the delay, folks. Thought I had this saved, and apparently I didn't. Here we go. So, Samuel, as you're looking around your friends, they all seem to be sweating profusely and gripping their stomachs. I need everyone to make a Constitution saving throw. Except for Samael. So let's see. Oh.
my god.
Okay. So
Can I have a hero point for that?
it is technically a saving throw. You can technically spend a hero point on this.
Boo.
Okay.
Nice.
If anyone else would like to roll a hero point, you're welcome to.
I'll roll one.
No, I think I'll pass.
Okay. Nicholas and Zito, you are currently infected with sewer plague. And you both gain a level of exhaustion. Which means, and I'm going to take this bless off of you, Zito, because that should have faded by now. Which means that you both have disadvantage on checks.
Zara, like, looking over them, can she, like, tell what it is based on her medical experience?
I'll tell you what, make a medicine check as you're just checking them out and seeing.
I mean, 11.
So, Nicholas and Zito both collapse on the ground. Sort of wobbly, similar to how Samael appeared to feel after he had his miraculous recovery from a sword emerging from his chest.
I can purge this from them, but I'll need to rest first before I can do so.
I second that. Maybe a night's rest would do us some good.
But
Is it safe to do so?
yeah, is it really safe? Manshoon, is he...
Byron, what if we barricaded this place? Do you think it would be safe to stay here?
How long are you thinking?
At least
I
8
think
hours.
our best bet is to go to the Mithril Tower.
Well, if the Kinku worked for the guys that attacked you, then he knows where this is. I don't know if he'll think to come back here, but he may. We may need to look for a place that we've never told Bryn.
The Mithril Tower is not a bad.
I've got a few friends and contacts within the area that we can hide out at, but we can go to the Mithril Tower.
Any of which will be fine by. Zar, what is your opinion? Where should we?
I think that's the best bet. I don't really trust being down here. I mean, again, if he was a necromancer, who knows what's in these sewers?
Very well. Gather your husband up and let's make haste. Zito.
She goes over to him and to Zito and tries to kind of help him up and give him a little bit of food and kind of wipe off their brow. Come on, let's get you at somewhere safe. Samael can help you.
And there are other aspects of this infection that I will reveal to you as you deal with it.
So I guess we're making our way out of the sewer and to Mitchell Tower.
Yes, that is correct.
All right.
All
So,
right.
is there any place in particular in Mithril Tower you wish to visit first?
The medical wing.
Oh, so you're going to the Order of Orion.
Yep.
Okay.
And I wish to visit their supply room.
Okay. How do you wish to get there?
Mr. R.
Unfortunately, Mr. R's summoning stone is with Siegfried.
That's okay. We'll get Byron to flag us down the sky coach. He's pretty good.
I'll reach over to my family's friend, brother, and see if he's available for a quick pickup.
Okay. How do you wish to reach out to your family, your friend?
Well, let me see if I get the stone grammar. Nope, guess could never afford one. Okay. I'll just go look for a sky coach.
Why don't we use a ring and have someone send a sky coach down here for us?
That's not a bad idea.
You're more acquainted with them than we are. Why don't you go ahead and give them a...
Well, I'm not about to hack up a lung right now. I think either someone else besides Nicholas or I should be able to do it.
Very well. Give me the name of who you think I should...
Brunhild worked for him for a while, right?
Yeah, Brunhild did work.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's part of the order as well.
I'm sure
Brunhild, I
Keller
forgot
will
my
be able to send some help.
Could also just use your ring and say, "Hey, help me."
They fussed us last time we did that. We need to have a name of a person.
I'll tell you what. Brunhild, roll an intelligence check.
Okay.
Can I don't know, assist her on that in any way?
Unfortunately, no.
You don't think I'm smart? I'm pretty smart. I may have gotten, D's, but I'm pretty.
So, Brunhild, you're fairly certain that Neville can help you out. Neville is a gentleman who flies many of the personal sky coaches for the Order. However, you've never used Neville for this service before. What would you like to do?
Well, I guess I can ask him, can't I?
You sure can.
Well, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna look at my ring and I'm gonna tap it, and I'm gonna go, "Hey, Neville, we need a ride. Can you get us a ride, please?
What?
We want a ride. We're in trouble and we need to get somewhere."
Who's this?
Brunhild.
Never heard of you.
Most haven't either.
You want a ride?
Yes.
Okay, where are you?
In a sewer.
In a sewer? I can't get to you in a sewer.
What if we got out of the sewer?
Well, then I can pick you up, can't I?
Well, that sounds like a great idea.
Okay, where are you at? You said sewer. There's lots of sewers in the city.
I'll tell Brunhild a close by intersection for him to pick us up.
Okay, okie dokie. I'll be there as soon as I can.
Thank you.
Sound cuts out from your ring. Are you all still down in the cellar, or are you leaving?
You guys want to wait here? I'll go up top and keep an eye out. When it gets here, I'll call.
Sounds.
I'll go outside and blend into the shadows.
Okay. About an hour goes by, and a very odd-looking cylinder begins descending from above the upper district of Dura, arcing out. And the cylinder is spinning, and it seems like it's made out of metal ribbons. And suspended within, you see what looks like a row of seats and a very small kobold sitting on top of a box in the front seat. And he's got these gigantic goggles on his head. And you watch as he pulls his goggles up, and he's now looking around. And the ribbons, these metallic ribbons, which are emanating this yellow light, are spinning around. And you watch as several of them stretch out and create an oval shape aperture. And you see a set of stairs begin descending from the side, the right side of this vehicle. And you see him now, he's raising his hand up. And Brunhild, you hear the familiar, scratchy little voice.
Hey, I'm here. Are you guys coming or what?
I think our ride's here, guys.
Sure is.
I'm gonna throw Nick under my arm and carry him on.
Okay.
As I let loose.
It's
your-
okay, buddy. We'll get you.
Are you all still wearing your red robes, by the way?
I never wore one.
No, I took mine.
Okay.
Is it cold outside?
No, it's spring, so it's the dampness from the fog is not too chilly.
Well, then no, I'm not wearing mine.
Zara definitely took hers off, put it in her pack.
Yeah, when I was doubling back, I switched rope with somebody else. I didn't even notice.
Okay. So as you approach this strange vehicle, it's unlike any sky coach you've ever seen before. And you just see these twirling ribbons made of metal, almost like a lattice that swirls and swirls around this platform with these plush seats within it. And you see the little kobold. He's got golden brown scales, and he's wearing the vestments of the Order of Orion. He has this giant chunk ring on the end of his fist, almost bigger than his hand. It's like he's wearing a larger person's ring, and he carries it in his hand like it's a pair of brass knuckles. And he yells down to you all.
Well, what are you all waiting for? Come on, get up in here.
Well, you heard him. Let's jump on in.
All right.
One at a
We all
time.
jump.
One at a time, you all ascend the very odd oval-shaped stairs that are hovering several inches away from each other, seemingly suspended on air. And it kind of bob a little bit as you step onto each step and step into the vehicle. As you pass through the vehicle, the oval aperture that's opening, the din from the folk outside completely is nullified. And you hear this strange sound as the aperture closes. The sound of sort of a happy, cheerful, tinkling noise that sounds a bit like... Doesn't sound like dogs. It sounds a bit like music. That's
Hey, Sir Sky Coach driver Neville, do you have like curtains or something to cover windows or something? Or are there windows?
Looking around, there don't seem to be any windows. And once he sees that all of you are within, the cylinder immediately rockets into the air faster than you have ever seen a sky coach fly. And in a blur, within minutes, you are up and away in the air, rocketing through, passing through this way and that way, passing over, tumbling, spinning around, and narrowly avoiding hitting other sky coaches. And the little kobold is like, and he turns and looks back at you, and he winks at you, Zara, and he says,
You shouldn't distract the driver.
and then you are all upside down now, hanging from your seats within this cylinder.
I like him.
Nick, please don't puke on me, please.
Brunhild, I approve of your choice.
Thanks.
Please don't puke on me, Nick, please.
Nicholas, make a Constitution save.
I was gonna say how well am I holding it in?
Nicholas, you let out a belch and a hiccup, but you managed to keep down the contents of your stomach.
I don't know if I can hold it in for long.
And after a few seconds, what seems like will last forever, the vehicle rights itself. And he says,
Sorry about that. So, where are we headed?
and he is now looking back at you, not looking in front of him, and still steering the vehicle. And he's staring at all of you expectantly.
Well, Fred, we're headed back to the headquarters of the Order. We have a report to give, and we've run into some problems we need to discuss. So, take us there post-haste.
Okay.
And just as he continues to stare at you, Samael, and a little grin is curling up on the side of his face, and you can see another sky coach heading straight for you guys.
I'm gonna grin back at him and say, you know, I like your style.
The sky coach is getting closer. And he is continuing to stare at you and staring straight at it.
We're all gonna die here.
She's gonna look. Please look. There's a sky coach. Please.
And he goes, wow! And he turns around and he just pulls back on the yoke on the ship, and you all shoot straight up into the sky up above, twirling and swirling, narrowly missing. Some of the ribbons actually scratch against the side of the other sky coach as you're flying straight up into the air, and he's screaming, ah! We're gonna die!
This is great.
And you watch as he reaches his tiny little hand out and he grabs a lever that's sticking out of the front of the control module, and it's got a crystal on the end of it. He grabs the end of it and he pulls it and he goes, ah! All the way back, and you hear this sort of like a booming noise, and all of the ribbons suddenly all fly out and attach themselves like spider webs between towers between buildings, and the platform violently wobbles in the midst of this tangle of webs, and this little diminutive kobold, you watch as his body flips up in the air, holding onto the control yoke with one hand and the lever with the other, and then violently bobs down into the seat.
Oh, is everyone okay?
And of course, you all sort of violently bobbed up inside of this invisible capsule, protected, but bounced around and jostled around within this vehicle. You can all see now, as you're picking yourselves up off of from the seat, looking out around you, you're in one of the taller, between two of the taller buildings in one of the upper levels of the city, above the fog, and you can just see these silvery, almost embroidery-like ribbons, metallic ribbons, which are stuck into the sides of buildings.
Ah, that was a close one. I forgot that I could do that.
Truly impressive.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
What do you get?
Zito, roll a Constitution save. Nicholas and Zito hurl chunks all over the interior. Zara, your hair is completely coated in vomit from Nicholas. Zito vomits into the lap of whoever he is closest to.
Yeah, who is he sitting by?
Zara.
He's on the other side.
Oh gosh, so she's just covered in vomit.
Unfortunately.
That's Siegfried ran about.
She's just like, day in the life of a medical cleric.
I thought you were a war cleric.
Well, yes, but I'm also a healer, so I've seen.
Very, very loud springing noise. You're hearing doink. Sounds like something stretching, and then another doink, and the interior capsule is now bobbing, and the little kobold is staring at you, and he starts to go, "Is that vomit?"
Ow! Ow!
And then he vomits all over the console and lets go of the lever, and the lever goes shoots straight up into an upright 45-degree angle, and all of the ribbons suddenly go spring back into the vehicle, and you're all hovering between the towers, sort of lazily drifting back and forth.
Oh, that's terrible. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, I'm so embarrassed.
It's okay, it's okay. We'll take care of it. Just plug your nose and then keep driving. Please get us there.
Okay.
And he grabs the control yoke again and continues on. And after a few minutes, you all make your way towards the familiar site of the fortress, which is the Tower of Orion. And this odd contraption floats up next to the main ledge that overhangs on the side of the tower.
Hi, I got a lot to clean up here. I'll see you later.
We wish you
Bye.
bye. I'm gonna throw Nick over my shoulder and head on inside.
Zito's gonna give him a gold piece for getting us here and for the cleanup.
Okay.
Sorry for throwing up on you, Zara.
No, it's all right. You know, day in the life, I've had worse. Yeah, if you want to hear that, you want to hear those stories, that's for another time. But let's get them inside.
Dragging yourselves within the central chamber, you see the familiar sight of Keller Vazar, who is standing next to a table, and you see another familiar face standing a few feet away from her, talking to her.
And that would.
You see Renair.
Hey, do we have a medical ward? I've got two sick individuals.
And Keller looks at all of you and says, "Oh, my goodness. You all have seen better days. Well, of course, we can help you. No problem."
I've still got Nick on my shoulder, and I'm gonna bounce him and go, "This one drinks sewer water, not his."
Nathan! And you hear the pitter-patter of feet as a familiar goblin comes running into the chamber.
Yeah?
Show these two to the medical wards.
I'm gonna
Oh.
Nick and Nate.
Okay.
And the little goblin begins pitter-patting, running away off into one of the branching chambers, leading you off. Who goes with him?
I threw Nick at him, so if he caught Nick,
Well, he's a goblin, so if you threw Nick at him, let me make a dexterity saving throw for Nathan.
Zara's going to try to prevent him from doing that. It's like, wait, hold on.
Okay. So Zara, if you stepped in to grab Nicholas, you're now grabbing him, taking the full force of him as his flop sweat. He leans against you. The sweat is going across your face. The stink of his vomit in your hair, the front of your armor is covered in Zito's vomit. It's a strange mishmash of various substances and textures. And you're now on your knees catching Nicholas, who is sort of flopping against you.
that's a good wife you got there, Nick. I hope I'm so lucky one day. She probably needs a bath too.
Samuel, please don't throw my husband, please. I mean, especially in this state. But especially in this state. All right, Zito. All right, Nick. You gotta almost takes him by the hand like the little kids and like, let's go to the medical ward.
Nathan stands back a few feet. He has his fists on his hips and he says,
What are we all standing around for? Let's go.
Yeah.
and so Nathan leads you off. The three of you, I'm assuming only the three of you off, which leaves the rest of you within the main chambers. Individuals wearing the vestments of the order are milling about in the distance. Renair is standing, currently looking at a map of Sharn, and he sees all of you and he says, "Good Lord, are you guys all right?"
Never better. How are you?
I've just been here talking to Keller. That's some of the problems that we've been having in the city.
They never seem to end.
Of course not. Well, but earlier today you all had possession of that weird stone thing, and then nothing. I heard Nicholas ran off.
Oh, we got it back. Here, let me get it out of this bag of holding real quick. Hold on. I'm gonna pull the stun.
Nicholas, did you leave behind your bag of holding?
No.
I took it from Zara after Zara took it.
Zara, did you take Nicholas's bag of holding?
Oh, yeah, I did, and then I gave it back, and I gave it to Semi.
Okay, Samuel, you're currently holding Nicholas's bag of holding.
Does he know that it's in there?
Yeah, that's the reason she took it. She took it from you because she was more worried about the stun than she was you. And then I took it from her because I was more worried about the stun than I was the both of you. Jeremy recorded it. We can check.
Yeah, it's.
I want my bag before we go to the medical ward. My bag.
Echoing down the hallway, you hear the weak voice of Nicholas calling out and saying, My bag.
Brunhild, will you take this bag of holding down to Nicholas and tease him with it?
Sure.
Alright, let's fish through here and take out some more stuff just to mess with him really fast.
Maybe, we could, but, you never know who's around, just like...
What's in the...
So Keller is now staring at all of you and says, well,
yeah.
I know we spoke earlier today. I gave you that task. You couldn't possibly have completed that by now, so other than seeking medical attention for your friends, what can we do for you?
Yes. Do you have anything in the way of supplies?
What kind of...
We've been soaking up damage like you would not believe.
Well, unfortunately, Nathan was taken off of his duties as for the armory, and it appears that he has been handing out far too much of our stores and what we have, and unfortunately, I can't spare much.
I understand. Well, if you have anything you can spare, just...
Well, we can spare the hospitality and the care that is, I'm sure you wish to have for your friends. If there's anything that we can help you with other than that, we'll do our best.
Actually, I have some things I'd like to discuss with you later, after everybody else is resting. But it's
very well. So is that all that you wish? The rest of you wish to rest? Gather yourselves, tend your wounds?
I'm afraid right now, being in the possession of the stun of galore, it seems like everybody and their brother is trying to hunt us down and kill us at the moment. But besides that, yes, we do need...
René said something about that. He said it was an artifact that you had acquired?
Yeah.
And do you have it with you?
It's right here in my...
It's in your hand, Samael?
Oh yeah, I just pulled it out of the bag.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, I've been tossed the bag over to Brunhild, and she's rifling through it to see if there's anything to take out and mess with Nick.
Very well. Let's see.
Brunhild, if you find any random things on the floor, put them in the bag. It'll confuse Nick later.
Got it.
Please, just don't touch his bag too much, and Samuel, be careful. Last time Nick touched...
through the ring? Where is she?
Oh wait, are you? Oh.
Yeah,
Never
you're gone.
Never mind, I'm gone. JK.
Jeremy.
Is that unusual? Voice?
Yes.
I don't think Nick would have left his bag. That's all I'm saying.
And I'm saying that even though you say you don't think, you've got a group full of adventurers with you that are all individuals, and you were sick being dragged away. So unless you said, I fought them to get my bag away from them, or you clutched it to your body and they had to drag it away from you.
He could projectile vomit onto us and try to take it back while we're all going, ew!
Well, he has a tendency to get knocked out, brainwashed, stuff like that, kidnapped, and then we lose the stone again. So Samael's going to hold him to.
So, Samael, would you be so kind as to make a wisdom save?
Oh, it's like that.
Okay. Samael, you hear a deep rumbling voice speaking to you and emanating now from the stone to everyone around you. You hear a voice say, "I am Galore, and you have all proved worthy."
That's all.
There's sort of a vibration in your arm as you hear this voice in your head, and the rest of all around you, your companions and Rainier and Keller sort of stare at you and stare at the stone.
That's enough out of you, Rock. Back in the bag. I put it back in the bag and put.
Before you begin to put the stone into the bag, you hear, "I am at your service. I will lead you to the vault."
Very well. We will take you up on your offer. Thank you.
You must...
I'm going to look up a...
As you are continuing to put it into the bag, it starts to say, "You must find," and then you drop it into the bag, and the voice ceases.
I'm going to look up at everybody and wink at them and go, "And you thought a pet rock was just a myth." Sealed, tied, and put back up.
Okay. Keller looks at all of you and says, "Did that rock just talk?"
Maybe.
That's unusual. Of course, I've heard of sentient magical artifacts before, but I've never heard of someone making a talking rock. It's very unusual.
You think that's crazy? Check this thing out. I'm going to pull out the keeper stuff.
Okay. Summoning the weapon, the falchion, into your hand, this dual crystal-bladed weapon glows slightly green as you pull it out and it flashes. And Keller sort of stares at you, stares at the weapon, and then says, "Wow. Impressive.
Thanks.
There's a reason why you're brandishing a weapon at me."
It exploded out of my chest earlier. You don't have any artificer services here that can help me repair them all.
Well, perhaps Stone can help you with that if you want to go off and head to the Room of Danger and see if he can't help you with that. I'm sure he wouldn't have a problem fixing that for you.
Anyway, it relates back to what I want to talk to you about later. Apparently this thing took my consciousness and transferred it to the realm of Dolor earlier.
And that is interesting. The realm of the dead.
It's a hell of a lot more than interesting. But like I said, we're going to discuss it. It's a personal matter.
Well, are you all planning on staying here for the rest of the day?
I plan so, unless anybody else has anything else they're planning on doing. Byron,
Yeah, it's a good place to rest. We can stay here a day. You have quarters for us?
Oh, of course. There's plenty of room within. They're not quite private. You'll be bunking with the other members of of Orion.
that's fine. I just need to rest.
The chambers, the bed chambers, are of course at your disposal as members of the Order. Was there anything else that you needed from us?
No.
And she turns back and looks at Rainier and says, as I said before, Rainier, we still haven't found the source of this fog. All we know is that it appears to be emanating somewhere from below the city, coming out of the valley itself, out of the ground. And she continues to chat with Rainier. What are the rest of you doing?
Wait, where are we right now? Like, the rest of the people.
Well, you are currently in a room, a long chamber with beds, which are mostly empty, except for the two that you're currently sitting next to, which is Nicholas, your husband, and Zito, who's in another bed. And there's a young lady who has entered the chamber now, and she is tending to each of them and stripping all of their clothes off. And she turns and looks to you, and she says, "Oh, lass, you look terrible. Did you want to have a bath?"
Yeah, that would actually be really great. Where's the washroom?
And she gestures towards the end of the chamber. There's a privacy screen, and she says, "There's a basin on the other side. You can clean yourself up over there. No one will bother you."
All right, thank you, miss. And she heads over there and starts to clean up.
And what about the rest of the party?
I'm on the way to give Nicholas back his bag of holding because Brunhild was.
Okay.
After that, I'm going to go by the armor and see about getting my armor repaired. I'm going to try to imprint that hole that I have with my holy symbol. Maybe attach that red robe I've got to it also, kind of like a old tavern, because it looks cool. I like the red robe.
Okay.
And after that, I'm going to go back and speak.
So I would say for all intents and purposes, you can all, unless you're leaving this place or doing something else, you can all take a short rest. Zito and Nicholas, after about an hour, this woman who's been working on each of you is able to... She pours a concoction down both of your throats, and you both, within an hour, the span of an hour, you burn out this sickness. And you no longer are infected with this horrible malady.
I feel so much better.
Are we able to take a long rest or only a short rest?
I'm intending to take a long.
Yes, that would be my goal if we can.
Okay, so you
I
all
would like to remind everybody,
want to take a long
if we
rest?
take that long rest. If we take that long rest, we are invoking the wrath of the trio we met earlier, though, because we're supposed to be meeting them, and we're going to miss that meeting. Is everybody cool with that? Because I'm cool with it. I'm ready to kill off.
Well, I mean, I don't see any other results, any other outcome. They're not allowed to have the stone. Are we protected enough here that if they came for us, that, you know... hey, miss, or she looks to see if there's someone else around.
After tending... now, do you guys have this conversation with the span of that hour that it took to heal them, or...
Yeah, we had it when I went by there to drop off Nick's.
Okay, so then she would still be there attending to them. Because after administering this concoction, essentially Nicholas and Zito took an hour vomiting and shitting. It was really horrible, and they both look very, very sad and sheepish during this whole ordeal.
Miss, if you don't mind asking.
Yes. Go ahead.
What sort of defenses you have here, or maybe we could speak with the security. There may be someone we might want to warn them about in case they stop by.
Oh, well, good heavens. Are you expecting some sort of trouble?
We hope not, but it's possible. We got a bit delayed, and she kind of looks at Zito and Nick. Just based on the circumstances, we were supposed to meet someone, but we can't, and we really have no way to communicate, so...
Well, I would say that you're in one of the safest places in the city. The Order of Orion is home to many a practitioner of the arcane arts, and of course the Impetu Arcanum, the special force that Vizard, our High Wizard of Sean, sends out. And of course, noticing the rings on all four of your fingers, clearly you're all prospective members of the Impetu Arcanum. I'm sure that you would all be quite protected while you're here.
She looks over at Samael. Maybe we should let them know to, you know, if they come by, to deter them, or... You know.
I've already mentioned it to them in the main hallway. I told them that people were hunting for us because of the stone. It's not a problem. They're already on high.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel a little more at ease. And she goes and, like, lays down on her bunk and just, like, man, I feel so much...
Okay, so what about the rest of you? What are you all doing?
Well, after the hour, Zito will probably have to go and find something to eat.
Okay, so my question is more akin to, are you all planning on spending a long rest here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And I will discuss with you later what I discussed with Keller.
Okay, fair enough.
I want to reach out to Manchun again.
All right, so if you take... It's kind of too early for you guys to take a long rest, is what I was asking. It's only been about 7 hours since you took a long rest.
Either way, though,
or since your last long rest ended. So if you wanted to spend the rest of the day just sort of putting around the place and then take your long rest, you can.
That'll be fine. We have to have it because we're in too bad a shape.
Okay.
Yes, Zara will study a bit more on her urbanism studies.
Okay. You don't have enough time, unfortunately, to accomplish any downtime activities, but you can do some, light research. Nothing too crazy or heavy, but you can all essentially, heal yourselves up back to full over the course of this time, and then we would transition on to the next day. So did any of you want to leave the tower to go out to accomplish tasks, or are you all planning on just staying here and bunkering down?
Staying.
Okay. Strangely enough, Siegfried is still MIA. And he has not been responding to his ring.
Zito would like to cast Identify on that strange candle that he picked up earlier that day.
Okay.
I'd like to return the quiver versatility and sell everything else that I put in the party loot.
Okay. So the item that you found in the mausoleum, Zito, is a necromantic artifact called a corpse candle. And when you light it, you can cast Speak with Dead from it. You can use it up to 5 times before it's completely spent. And as a bonus, when you light the candle, it will reveal invisible undead creatures or spirits within 60 feet. And I have identified it for you in your bag.
Alright, thank you.
You're welcome. So, Byron, you wish to return the quiver?
Yes.
Okay, and you said you wanted to sell items?
Yeah, I dumped everything into the party loot. And would I
Okay.
be able to change that half plate over to stud?
Well, you would need to leave to sell items. There's no shop within the tower that you can sell items to. Like, they'll take back your items that you have relinquished, that you've borrowed, but they won't buy items from you.
Okay.
Okay. So you don't want to leave, don't wish to leave the tower?
No.
No, that's what I was asking Byron.
Oh, I can leave the tower. Yeah, that's fine.
That's what I was saying. If you left the tower, you could sell these items.
Yeah, see if I can't get rid of all that, and see if I can't get like studded leather armor or +1 studded leather armor. If it...
Okay. All right. So you're just going to sell the spell book?
Unless somebody needs it, they can take it out of it.
I was going to say, it would take you a week to find somebody to sell that to.
I'm sure Zito or somebody else could use it.
Okay. And visiting Stone, throughout the day, Stone is able to patch your armor back to new. There's a little bit of a blemish on the front and on the back of your armor, Samael, where the hole once existed, but it almost looks perfectly brand new.
I'm just going to have him mount my holy symbol, which is the disc with the ram's head on it, over top of the blemish on the...
Okay. He can do that very easily. He'll have that for you by tomorrow. And he also takes the quiver off your hands, Byron, and he, if you wish to, he will issue you some of that armor that you were looking for. You said you were looking for studded armor?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see.
Will he just take a trade for the mithril plate?
Let's see. Let's see if he has it in his inventory. Well, unfortunately, that is a very expensive piece of armor, what you're initially looking for. He does have regular old studded leather, which he'll be happy to give you a set of. The other kind, that stuff's a little harder to come by.
Okay.
He says he could have it for you, but it would take him about a week to find it. Like to properly like take a piece, essentially taking an existing piece of studded leather armor and talking to an enchanter and crafting it for you. Because I assume that you would like that armor to be similar to what you had before. Specialized color, make it dark, using dark materials to build it.
I'll find somebody then.
Okay. He can still give you a set of studded leather if you'd like.
Sure, I can wear that until I can, find a mage that's capable of making armor instead of the mages.
All right, I will throw that into your pack. There you go. And you said you wish to sell the rest of the items?
Yep.
All right. So through the course of the day, you're able to... It takes you most of the day, but you're able to slip down into one of the districts that where a lot of the shops are, not venturing too far away from Mithril Towers, and you're able to sell most of the items. Unfortunately, no one seemed to want the steel key or the padlock key. The mithril armor was a bit... let's see. You're able to get 250 gold out of that.
Okay, that's like 20%.
Well, that mithril is only worth 500 gold.
500 added on to the half plate, because half plate's 750.
Sorry, I'm going by what it's telling me here in Fantasy Grounds. It's telling me that it's worth 500 gold. So maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing. I think you're right. Yeah, 750 plus 500.
Byron has excellent haggling skill.
Oh, I have shit. I could get 20%. Who knows?
All right. So after finding yourself a nice shopkeeper, an old woman, who didn't really seem like she was paying attention too much as you were giving items away, almost. She felt like that she felt that she was taking advantage of you, and you got about 793 gold total.
Okay.
Did you want me to distribute that straight to you, or did you want to distribute that amongst the party?
Well, I paid for it. I think I'll take it.
Okay, so go ahead and add 793 gold to your sheet. And did you want to keep those keys or just toss them?
I'll give them to some kid on the street.
Okay.
Children love keys.
Children love
Key to your
playing.
dream.
They love playing with keys. Do you do anything else, Byron, while you're out?
Nope.
Okay. And what about Brunhild? Is she chin deep in a flagon of ale?
She's passed out in a corner.
Okay. All right, so the rest of the day seems to pass on. And you all take yourselves to the various chambers that that the order has offered to each of you to take your rest. And just before you are about to fall asleep, eyes heavy, there's a buzzing in the chamber above all of you. It seems to be flying above all of you, doing figure eights.
Does it wake us up?
Well, let's see. All of you need to make perception checks with disadvantage. Of course, Samael. That's to be expected.
So that's an 8.
Oh, I'm there.
Yep. Somebody's selling dates and pistachios.
Yeah.
Nicholas, as you are drifting off, the cramps are gone, the sweat is gone, and as you look up in the air, you see a black paper bird flying over you and your friends, over these bunk beds that are spread out within this chamber. And it's currently zooming towards you.
I'll reach out and grab it.
Okay. It lands in your hand. It transforms into a pentagonal piece of parchment.
All right. And I want to go ahead and read it.
Okay. And you see that it looks like this. There's a couple of paragraphs. The first one says, "The trio are waiting for you within Mithril Tower. We know that you are within the Order of Orion's base. And we wish to speak to you." And beyond that, you see a list. It seems to be like some form of Elvish, but you can't quite make it out. It almost seems like it's scrambled. It actually hurts to read it.
Yeah, these guys aren't educated. I'm gonna wake up Samael in the group. I'm gonna leave a note on Samael. Hey, your buddies are looking for you.
Siegfried? He's.
No, the trio. They're waiting for you.
Oh. All right, everybody, get geared up. We got some.
Do we have to?
Well, I mean, the order let them in.
A
Here.
much-
I assume they wanted us to leave 3 corpses.
A diminutive-looking goblin comes running into the room, and it's Nathan. And he says, "Hey, there's some guys. I want to talk to you guys. They're waiting for you in the main chamber."
Tell Keller to kill.
Okay. And he starts wandering off, yelling into his ring. "Yeah, they said to kill them. Is that protocol? Hey, you guys want the chest that they brought with them?"
Yes, just leave it on the floor. I'm coming. Come on, guys, let's go. We got some corpses to clean up and a chest.
How much sleep have we gotten?
You haven't got any sleep, actually. You've been able to take a short rest, but through the rest of the day, you've just been sort of, relaxing and tending to your wounds.
It's all right. Because Keller's going to kill them for us, and she's.
Well, I guess let's be prepared. To be honest, I was not that sleepy anyways, but all right, she gets out her halberd and everything else. Let's go. Well, no, just wait.
Have we, being that we've been laying around, have we healed up any hit points?
You've been able to, you can spend some hit die since you took that short rest. You can spend as many as you like.
Oh. And how do I do that again?
All right.
On your
Let's
main,
make this quick.
on the front sheet of your character sheet at the bottom, you just double click on the dice and it rolls your hit die for you. So as you are all gathering together your materials, putting your armor on, it takes you the better part of about 15 minutes to get everything geared up and to go. And you head down the twisting halls of the Tower of Orion into the familiar cylinder that stretches up hundreds of feet to the very top of Orion Tower. And standing a few feet away from each other and staring at all of you as you enter the chamber are the 3 familiar drow. And there is a large, ornate darkwood chest that's gilded with iron bands that's sitting in front of them on the table that Rainier and Keller were once around earlier. Do you notice that Keller is not there?
Well, crap.
And the gentleman that spoke to you before, Samael, says, "Here's your payment. And I believe that our patron sent you a letter. When you open the chest and accept the payment, the letter will decode." And they don't appear to be outwardly staring at you or putting their hand, making any sort of gestures that appear to be outwardly hostile. And they seem to have made their way up into the tower on their own accord. And I believe Nicholas has the letter. Did you want to read it?
I'll pull out the letter from the bag.
Okay.
I'll be like, well, it's your friends, and I hand it to him.
Do you wish to open the chest?
Yeah.
Okay, Samael, as you approach the chest, the trio stop you and say, "Hold a moment. Didn't you have a ring?" Zarda said something about a ring.
I pull out a bag out of my inventory that contains the remains of the ring in it.
Okay. Do you do anything with those remains?
They're inside the bag.
Okay. And he just sort of waves it and steps back away from the chest.
I'm a lot stronger than people think I am.
He just sort of looks at you and gives you sort of a bored, rolls his eyes and sort of bored and looks at you and says, "Can we please get on with this?"
Very well. And I open the chest.
Okay. Opening the ornate darkwood chest, you see very neatly rows and rows of gold gallifars. And there's a bit of a sort of a flash of light. And the pentagonal piece of parchment, Nicholas, that you're holding, the text suddenly begins decoding in front of your eyes. And it says, "To my dear friends, here is the promised reward for your efforts in locating what my men could not. If it is agreeable to you all, I have a further task that may interest you. There is an artifact rumored to have once belonged to the previous High Wizard of Sharn, and for a time served as the personal staff of Catherine Erdimmer. It is called the Draken Staff. I have no doubt that the previous Lord Mayor has hidden that prize wherever his ill-gotten treasure is hidden. Retrieve this artifact for my benefactor, and I shall pay you twice as much for finding the stone. Accomplish this task, and my patrons shall not forget you all. The trio are at your service doing your search for the treasure hoard and the staff. You will find that they are quite resourceful. Warmest regards, Zardas Zord."
So I'm to understand we're supposed to pass the stone off to you, collect this payment, and then you're going to assist us in finding the
And the drow elf holds up a hand, halting you, and says, "No. We were given specific instructions that the stone was to remain with all of you. But apparently you're going to need it in order to find this treasure hoard and to find the staff for my patron."
Very well. Where does your assistance come into play?
Well, we will keep off your back whoever is attempting to... Clearly, you must understand that we've been watching you all day. We know what you've all been up to. The bit of business out of the city and the lower wards. We know that you've come across some strange folk. We can try to keep them off your back as best we can as you continue on your search for this vault. That is what we can do for you.
I found these terms acceptable. I'm gonna look at the rest of the party. Let's say
Yeah, I mean, that sounds good.
So
We
we
keep the stone, right?
Yes.
That's what he said.
All right.
I was
Making sure.
given very specific instructions from Mr. Zord that you were to keep the stone. He said that you would need it.
All right.
He also mentioned something that, because of the nature of the stone, that one of you would have to become familiar with it. Similar to that of a powerful magical artifact. That you would need to spend some time with it. If that makes any sense at all.
Yes, it does.
You can keep the chest if you like. It's a nice chest. It was one of Mr. Zord's personal chests.
Very well. I accept the chest. Thank you.
Well, if there's nothing else, if you don't need anything from us, then we'll take off.
Very well. Thank
And-
you.
And he looks at you, he bows before you, Samael, and the rest of you, and he says, "My name is Felrecht Lafine. And these are my brothers in arms, Krebig Masakir and Solun Ziblindas. You can just call us Fel, Kreb, and Sol."
I will stare down at him imperiously as he bows and say, "Thank you, Fel. We will do so. Now leave us. We have much to discuss."
If you need us, and he tosses a stone towards you, you can summon us with this. And he tosses you what appears to be a sending stone in the shape of a scorpion. It seems like it has been carved into the shape of a scorpion.
I will place it in my...
Okay. I will put that into your inventory later. Oh, by the way, there's one other thing. While we were watching you and watching others who are watching you, it appears that some sort of group has been hanging around your inn, your house in Cliffside.
Have you identified?
Well, we don't know quite who they are exactly. I know that there are quite a few of them, and that they're spread throughout the city. Some of them have taken to calling themselves by a certain name. I don't know why they chose this name, but we thought it was kind of odd. Seems to be related to this whole business in the lower wards with the folk who have been murdered and ritualistic killings. The name that... Well, they seem to wear robes. Sometimes they wear white robes, sometimes they wear red robes. And this particular group that we encountered and watched destroy the tower that you had your little row with this afternoon, they have been calling themselves the Spiral Hunters. To our knowledge, we've never heard of such an organization. Spiral Hunters means nothing to us. But
Well, don't reveal yourselves to them at this time. Just continue to watch them. But if we can catch one of them unawares, feel free to torture whatever information you require.
they seem to be coming from somewhere below the city, though. We have seen their ships that they use, these very odd ships that seemed almost sentient. They've been using to go in and out of Undershar.
This will warrant investigation later.
If you would like, we can attempt to find out where they are originating from, exactly.
Yes, please.
Very well. And we will do so in the name of our patron. We will do so for you. You have become...
Your service is not unappreciated.
You have all become friends of the Vulcarians and friends of our patron. Friends of our patron's patron. And I have a feeling that we will do great things together. I must apologize for my crassness. In the service of my patron, I was told to kill all of you should you fail to find the stone. I must obey my patron. I hope you can understand the honor and duty behind such a task.
Of course I do. I've done many dark things in the service of honor and duty. On top of that, you can't have any loose ends running around, giving information.
Indeed. Well, we're off. Feel free to contact us if you need to. If there's nothing else,
that will be all. Thank you.
And the three of them, you watch as they step towards the edge of the platform where the sky coaches dock, and each one of them pulls out what appears to be a pistol-like device and fires out some sort of monofilament line that stretches out. And you just watch as they're each yanked off of the edge of this and go flying off into the dark as the sun is now setting.
Nick, do you want me to ask them to get you one of...
No, it is not necessary. It is fine. I don't want to.
Sure.
You know.
It's really cool.
Yes, but they are not our friends. It is best to know and be careful around them. Because we don't plan on giving the treasure to them, do we?
Nick, I'm going to go ahead and tell you up front. No one in this city is our friend.
True.
I'm your friend.
So we must make friends with our enemy.
You know what they say, Zar. Keep your enemies, keep your friends close, keep your enemies...
Exactly.
The time will come to kill them, but it wasn't tonight. Well, let's go to sleep.
Okay.
Oh, and if nobody has any objections, I will divide the gold up evenly amongst everybody, but I will keep...
You want the chest, Samael?
Of course I do. That's an awesome looking chest. And don't think that I didn't notice that they copied my bird.
All right. I'll divide that up amongst you guys. You each received 714 gold pieces. And Samael got himself a fancy, ornate chest.
I wonder what kind of wood it's made out of. I should ask a carpenter.
Okay. So you all wish to take a long rest now? Or did you have other things that you wanted to do before you all went back to bed?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm going to sleep.
I'm
going to bed.
Okay. So you all head back to your chambers, and you're all able to get a nice, restful sleep. And you awake the next day feeling refreshed. And in the morning, you're all offered to come down to the mess hall where the rest of the order assemble in the mornings to fill their bellies before they go about their daily tasks. And it is the 15th of Ire. After filling your tummies, gathering your belongings, and figuring out your next course of action, sitting around the breakfast table, you have a moment to collect yourselves and a moment of reflection as you're sitting around the table staring at each other.
Well, it's been a week.
Zara, I've been meaning to ask you. Oh, what's with that scarf?
And she instinctively, her hand goes to her neck, and she's, oh, it's an old wound. How is everyone else doing? And she quickly tries to deflect.
I'm good.
I didn't find a spell book. Zito, you interested in it, or how about you, Nick?
Yeah, I would love to take a look at it.
Where'd you pick up the spellbook?
Off that necromancer. It's about the only thing he had on him.
I think we destroy it.
You can destroy it after I take it and copy the spell.
Nicholas, this wizard's been studying dark magic that raises the dead. That's not right. No one should have this knowledge.
I'll destroy it.
Well, don't do that now. Think about it. Knowledge is knowledge. It's not good nor evil. You could use this knowledge perhaps to create spells that could be used against them.
It's better off if no one knows his knowledge.
Well, unfortunately, people do know this knowledge and they will use it against us. Couldn't you use the spells that are in there to perhaps create alternate spells that could reverse the...
There are already spells like that will counteract spells. We don't need this.
Very well. It's your decision.
Jeremy, the necromancer had a ring of keys, several keys that open up various doors in the sewers.
Yes. As you've been going through the ring of keys, you've found something strange about them. Several of them, in fact, had that spiral design from the key that you found in the mausoleum in the City of Dead. They almost looked identical, except the notches for the actual key end were differed slightly. But a lot of the keys were very similar in design. They just have different style ends on their keys. Some of the keys had sort of a shiny, sort of a brass look to them. Some of them look silver.
Notice we went an entire night without anybody trying to steal the stone? Y'all.
Could eventually go down in the sewers and find out what doors these open.
Strangely enough, some of these keys that you came across, Byron, they do look similar to you, like the iconography on the end of the key. Just staring at them, it appears to you like some of them have the very faint design of many of different deities, many of the sovereign hosts, and you actually find some that look like the iconography of the Dark Six. Of course, to your memory, if you want to roll a history check, you can. In terms of like the names of each of that are associated with each of these keys and the iconography that on them, you can't quite remember. You know you've seen them in your travels. Maybe you saw them in a book. Maybe you saw someone's standard on their shield. But you do find one that is the iconography. Strangely enough, you find the exact iconography of what is currently emblazoned on Samael's chest.
Okay.
Holding the key in your hand, just sort of staring across Samael from the table as he's shoveling food in his mouth, you can see, because Samael never takes his armor off, you can see the design is exactly like the icon that's on his chest.
The ram's head skull.
Correct.
All right, I'll keep note of it. But...
And I will put that item into your inventory later, Byron.
All right.
As you're all sitting around the table, just relaxing, your food is settling in your stomach, you watch a row of kobolds come rushing in and all sit down at the table. And they're all sitting nice and neat, their backs straight, looking straight ahead with their hands on the sides. And they all start clapping their hands in unison, making sort of like a boom, boom, over and over again. The sound filling the chamber. And as that continues on, there's a bit of sparks that fly from beyond the kitchen area, and sort of like stardust seems to sprinkle over the table, and each and every single plate in front of the kobolds suddenly fills with food, piled high. And you all watch as they all sort of put their hands clasped together in a praying motion, bow their heads towards each other, and then just start just shoveling food into their mouths.
Impressive.
That is pretty awesome. Samael, when are you gonna learn to do that?
And a much smaller kobold, a little one, comes wandering past your table and is now hovering next to Brunhild. And it's holding some sort of plush, handmade doll. And it's looking up at Brunhild.
Mistress, it's so good to see you again. I made a dolly of you.
And this little kobold holds up this stuffed doll, which looks like a close approximation of what Brunhild looks like wearing her armor. There's bits of straw hanging out in areas. It seems to be made out of burlap, and it looks like it's been painted. And
Aw, you did so well.
You really think so?
Well, I couldn't have done it better.
Ah! And she takes it, she squishes it against her body and holds it, and some of the straw sort of ping ping comes out, and the seams start bursting on the ends, and she looks at it and goes,
No! Oh, I gotta go fix it. Mistress, I missed you.
and
Well, I missed you too.
and the little kobold goes running off. And you know this little kobold to be called Pixie Doodle.
Well, that was nice.
So
what now, Samael?
Well, let's get out of here and find ourselves somewhere else to go discuss everything. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the Stone of Galore up out of my inventory, and I'm gonna shove it right down the front of my pants. Wait to see somebody come get it.
as you pull it up out of your bag and begin shoving into your pants, you hear, "Oh, please no." And now there is a voice emanating from Samael's crotch.
How'd you get the stone? I have the bag.
How did you get the stone? Apparently, in the middle of the night, Nicholas, someone went through your bag.
Oh, did... Well, in that case, then Nicholas has 2 stones because I gave him back the.
So, Nicholas, when you go into your bag, if you have it with you, you find the Stone of Galore. You find another stone that kind of looks like the Stone of Galore. It's basically just a rock that's been painted gray.
Can I? Are we
I'd
still?
already considered all this, but now that I've learned that Nick is so distrustworthy, I'm taking the Stone of Galore back.
Okay.
Whoa! How are you gonna get it back?
Losing.
You can't just take it back. Nick's gone.
All right, party. Let's take a vote. Who's going to carry the Stone of Galore, Nicholas or Semi?
Nick's gone, and Nick's already grabbed his bag and walked off.
Nick has left the party. We will miss Nick. We will get a new.
I can wing him.
Go ahead and shoot. Because as soon as he leaves out that door, his ex-girlfriend's going to show up. She's going to poison Nick. Then she's going to take the stone, and then we're going to have to.
No, I'm not leaving the order. I want to go to the mage, a high-level mage. Or can I speak to a mage?
You mean Keller?
I do it all the time.
Yeah.
You mean Keller?
Yeah, I'll walk up to Keller.
The High Wizard of Sharn?
Yeah.
Who is currently not in the cafeteria area?
Yeah,
Looking,
can I leave the...
glancing around the chamber, you wish to go find her?
Yeah.
Okay. Samael, did you already have your conversation with her?
Yes.
Okay.
We discussed what happened in Duel.
Okay. I will partner with you later on. I will partner with you later on how that conversation went.
Yeah, I did state to her to keep it between her and myself.
Okay. Nicholas, as you head upstairs, the winding staircase, and find yourself at the top chamber. Are you going by yourself, not bringing anyone else?
We're all chasing him. We're trying to get the.
Okay. Samael is behind you, following the path that he took earlier.
All right, I'm gonna disappear in the shadows.
Okay. You all watch as Nicholas headed up the staircase. Suddenly, he passed into. You can go ahead and roll a stealth check.
With my ability, I get once per day. Automatically, I can disappear.
Okay. Well, that's your
Automatically pass.
Decoy stone for anybody to go after. I was going to let him keep the stone and keep the decoy and tell everybody I took it back from him. Now everybody's going to be after Nick again, like always, and he's going to fail. That dumb bastard. And I'm going to walk back down.
And I'm gonna sit here and eat a biscuit.
Zara, this morning your neck has been itching.
How can he be an investigator and be so sneaky and smart about stuff if he can't even understand the simple concept of a decoy? I mean, I went to church and I know this stuff and he doesn't.
Nicholas, as you continue in the shadows, up towards the very top of Orion Tower, finding yourself in the central chamber, this crystalline floor, this lattice work, where you can see through the crystal, you can see down to the floor below. You see the multiple layers, the levels, the staircases. And upon approaching the door immediately opens as soon as you approach it. Your ring flashes, and the central seal in the center of the door flashes in time with your ring, and the door parts. And you see the familiar sight of Keller Visar, this brown-skinned woman with this curly short hair, and she's currently sitting behind her desk going over some papers, and she has a cup of some sort of warm liquid which the steam is emanating off of it, and she's sipping it. And she looks up and she says, "Yes,
I
Mr. Highhill,
yes,
come
I
in."
have a favor. I'll come in, walk in. We have a stone. I mean, as he showed you earlier.
Yes, the artifact that you talked about the other day.
Yes, I saw it in my bag. My party. I'm pretty sure it was Samael trying to make a replica. He just painted a stone gray. My request is, could you make a replica or two replicas of the stone that look realistic?
Do you mind if I look at it? I'd have to physically handle it, of course.
I'll pull out the bag. I'll pull it out of the bag and I'll give it to Kelly.
And as you pass it forth, you can hear this rumbling noise saying, "What are you doing? I belong to you. Why are you passing me off?" And then as soon as the stone leaves you and enters into Keller's hands, the sound stops immediately. And she just sort of closes her eyes and she looks at it, and then she looks up at you and she says, and a little bit of a smile sort of creeps on her face, and she says, "Wow, whoever made this is quite talented."
Yes. Can you make two replicas?
I could make something. You must understand, they won't stand up to scrutiny up close.
That's fine. I
If
just
I'm
want something.
far away, they'll look much better than this facsimile that you have shown me. And she gestures towards the stone, which is colored gray, which isn't even the same shape of the stone of Galore, I should mention.
I said,
The dungeon master.
and I go and I slowly grab the stone from her hand and say, "Can you make a replica of that?" And I put it in the bag.
And
Very powerful.
as you reach for it, she reaches out and grabs your wrist, turns your hand over, and slaps the stone into it. And as she does, Nicholas, you get a vision in your mind of a world of vast oceans. As far as the eye can see, cities floating above water, cities underneath water, and suddenly zooming towards the water, as if you're flying, diving down into the depths, you see a massive shape illuminated by bioluminescent fauna from beneath the waves. You see this massive shape with tentacles in the distance, and three glowing eyes, one on top of each other in a row. And you just hear this deafening roar, and this sound, and this name that calls out in your head. You just hear Galore, as loud as you can possibly stand it in your mind. And then you are thrust back, rocketed out from the ocean depths, out over the sky, out over this strange world, up into the heavens above. And you blink your eyes a few times, your vision goes white, and Vizar is staring at you now. Stone is in your hand, and she looks to you and she says, "Do you understand?"
Yes, I understand. I shove it in the bag.
And as you shove it into the bag, she says, "I don't think you do, but I think you'll find out."
Can you make the replicas?
Yeah, give me a day, and I can have something for you.
All right. Is there any way to make it even look really like the stone, even up close, almost where they have to cast a spell to tell if it's fake? Is that such thing? Is that possible?
Give me a day. I'll get back with you.
All right. Thank you so much. And I quickly got down the stairs.
If you'd be so kind, I know we talked about it the other day, but could you please check in on Malone War Dragon?
Yes, I will. We will get to it. I apologize. We're very busy, but we definitely will.
I understand that you're busy. I'll have more work for you too. As soon as you've sorted out this business with Malone, I've got another more pressing matter.
All right, no problem. I'll let the others know. Thank you. Thank you so much, man.
Do you want to know what this pressing matter is before you go?
Oh, I guess if you you want to tell me, yes, I'd love to know.
We've suspected for some time now that Zesh... Have you heard of Zesh?
Yes, this is guild?
Zesh is an entity that oversees the Das Guild holdings here in Shan. Zesh has only been in power for a short amount of time, but seemed to have picked a fight with the Bolramar clan, or the Bolramar clan picked a fight with them. Zesh apparently has a very powerful illithid who has been creating intellect devourers for it. And we suspect that these intellect devourers are being used to replace individuals that are high up within the government. Possibly even intellect devourers that have taken over the minds of members of the 60 families.
Oh, horrible.
We're still gathering information, but possibly when you're done dealing with this task with Melun, perhaps you can assist the Order in hunting down this illithid and destroying it.
Yes, I mean, anything for you. Like I said, we're very close to solving this case of what been working on for a while. And then we'll be a lot more free. We'll definitely help you as well.
Also, I wanted to let you know that you all received a message this morning from someone named Lydia Wrighton. Does that name sound familiar to you?
Yes. What did the message say?
It said something about a dwarven man named Yorn who had moved into the manor and said that she was very specifically said he was making a scene and drinking all of the ale and was currently in your cellar locked underneath the tap room, if that makes any sense at all.
I'll let the... What was the dwarf's name? Yorn?
She said Yorn. I don't know if if that sounds familiar to you at all.
I'll let the party know.
Very well. I will get back to you. You're very welcome. I will get back to you on this business with the stone. You can check back with me within a day. I should be able to have something for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And you're very welcome.
Else?
Just take care of yourselves and take care with Melon. He's a feisty fellow.
No worries at all. We'll take care of it. And I kind of scurry up. I head back down the stairs.
Okay, you head down the long, winding stairs. You're kind of winded by the time you get to the level where the cafeteria is on.
Samael.
The rest of the group is now still just sort of relaxing, having their breakfast drinks.
And then he went through my bag, stole my stuff, and now he run off with the stone. He has no clue what a duplicate item is or how to make any form of ruse or anything to protect it. He's probably getting the stone stolen from him right now as we speak. Oh, there he is. Nick.
Hey. I stole the stone was in my bag.
Do you still have it in your bag? Are you sure that's the real?
Yeah, and I pull out the fake one. I show him. This is the real stone.
Good.
Here, you should carry it, and I give it to him.
No, make it.
I'm sorry?
Make it talk. We can all hear it when it talks. Ask it a question. Ask us, where do we go to find the treasure?
Yo, we should name it.
We should.
Hey, I've never heard it talk. It didn't talk to me, and I give him the stone.
Nope.
Roger.
As you hand the facsimile, to Samael turning it over in his hand, no sound emanating, no disembodied voice in your head.
What?
Yeah, where's Roger?
Oh,
He
Roger?
done again. Let's.
Hold on, calm down, Samael. I
You
talked
lost
to
it
Keller.
again.
I
Who did
talked.
you give it
I didn't
We
give it to
could
anybody.
stone him to death.
to?
I talked to Keller. Everything is under control.
Did she trade you a spell for the stone? Is that what?
No, no, I have the stone in my possession. But
Pull it up.
I have a plan.
Let's see the stone. I need to make sure you.
I pull out the real stone real fast and then I put it back in.
As soon as you pull the stone out, you hear, "Would you stop shoving me back in that back?"
There he is. Okay, well done, Nick.
I have a plan. Just trust me.
Okay, Nick, listen. But don't say anything about your plan, because if you tell everybody the plan, then it's not a secret plan anymore. You keep up with the stone, keep sure it's the real stone, keep up with your plan, and don't tell anybody. Keep it to yourself so it'll remain a secret. That way, we don't know, and nobody else will know either. And then, on top of that, I need you to quit telling everybody we're close to getting the treasure, okay? Because what we decide to do with the treasure when we find the treasure may not be what everybody wants us to do with the treasure. So shut up.
I know. That's why I have a plan in motion. And I kind of wink at him. Just trust me. We need to wait here maybe for another day.
Okay. And if anybody does try to take the stone from you, give it to me. I'm harder to take down.
I know. Trust me, I know.
Good. All right. Well, where to?
And as you all settle back around the table, coming together as a group for the first time in such a long time, you have this moment of respite and relaxation. And you all spend the rest of the day relaxing and waiting for Keller Vizar to produce facsimiles of the Stone of Galore. And that is where we're going to end for tonight. Following the events within Malian's Gate, the group followed clues to the district known as Caliston in Lower Dura. Traipsing through the filthy streets, watching children play with rivers of rats. Siegfried found himself separated from his friends, heading down a narrow, dark alley. And he begins hearing a strange sound, flapping. And as he looks up, in the gloom and doom of this dark alleyway, finding himself turned around, not knowing where his friends have gone off to, he sees a lime green paper bird flapping overhead. The object soars downward, spiraling, and upon coming within feet of the bard, flips in the air and transforms into a pentagonal piece of parchment, landing in his outstretched hand.
Now, who could be sending me a paper at this time of the day? I was enjoying the just dreadful exterior of this alleyway.
Staring at the wax seal on the exterior of this folded piece of parchment, Siegfried, you notice the familiar sigil of House Fjarlin.
Well, might as well read it. He casts dancing lights and opens up the paper so he can read it properly.
The illumination from Siegfried's spell creates a warm glow within the drab alleyway. As you crack the seal and begin to unfold the pentagonal piece of parchment, you see with an elvish script a single paragraph, short, and it says, "Your presence is requested immediately at the Enclave. A House Fjarlan coach is on its way to collect you. Signed, Baron Elvinor Elarinthi de Fjarlan." And after a few moments, Siegfried, you feel a wind blowing through the alley, whipping up bits of debris, swirling around you. And as you look towards the end of the alleyway from the source of wind, through the mist, a black sky coach drifts downwards from above and comes to rest at the end of the alleyway. You see the silver iconography of House Fjarlan emblazoned on the exterior, and the door swings upward like a hatch, and a set of stairs begins to unfurl down to the ground.
I approach slowly and kind of look around for anything suspicious about it before getting on.
As you get closer, the interior of the cabin, you smell a bit of flowery scent, like a perfume wafting from out of the cabin. The cabin itself is fairly dark, and you don't really see much within, as the windows appear to be blacked out. You do see, however, what you do see from first looking inside is that it's very plush and looks very comfortable within.
I'm gonna assume Agent Blackwater has something to do with this. Might as well go. It's not like I'm getting anything done here, lost in an alleyway.
Do you approach and enter?
Yes.
Siegfried, you step up the stairs that have unfurled from this conveyance, and as you step inside and sit down, the stairs fold back up, the hatch closes, the dim light from outside ceases, and looking within the cabin, it is a somewhat plush cabin. It is dark, no illumination, and you see the shapes of two individuals sitting across from you, and one begins to slide down the plush furniture within this cabin and gets closer to you. And as this individual gets closer to you, you suddenly hear a clicking noise and feel something sharp poke into your side. And you hear a male voice say, "Calm yourself." And you can feel a certain rush as the sky coach lifts up into the air through the mist, and you see a little bit of a portal open and towards what you can only assume is the front of the sky coach. And you can see now an individual seated behind the control panel, and you can see the mist which is parting as the vehicle flies upwards. And after a little while, you feel as though the conveyance is coming to what you assume is a stop, a complete stop, hovering in the air somewhere above the district. And you hear a familiar voice call out to you, a shrouded individual sitting across, that says, "Greetings, Siggy. Long time no see." And a light illuminates from the center of the cabin overhead and casts a glow around the familiar face of Vivette de Fjarlan. And as you look at her, she gestures with a hand out to you and says, "I know it's been some time since our date down at the docks. Pay no mind to Erstel. Erstel, would you be a dear and stop poking him in the side with your crossbow, please?" And as you look over, you see a elven man. One half of his face is completely scarred and scaled over with scabs. And he just sort of breathes in your breath the reek of sour coffee or whatever he had for breakfast. And he leans back from you. But he is still within 3 feet of you, sitting in the plush accommodations within the cabin.
Now, you act like it'd be the first time I'm shot by a crossbow. I've had many bolts pierce my skin on missions. Now you, however, you've been a very naughty girl, High Inquisitor.
I see you've been speaking to my love.
Him? Come on now, he's about as useless as a dead fish floating in the sea.
Oh, now, let's not get nasty. Nicholas is useful when he needs to be. He and I may have had our disagreements over the years, and the unfortunate business of the separation of our houses and what that did to us, but I never wanted any ill will towards him. Perhaps a few paltry tricks here and there, and
He's not a person. It's just, sometimes he doesn't look at the big picture, and it ends up hurting himself more than it probably should.
Well, indeed. You mentioned a title, High Inquisitor. Yes. The Serpentine Table have had me embedded within the King's Citadel for quite some time now.
Not very surprising, though. You do make it a pain for me when we start having problems with the Inquisitors, and then I can't really just lie to them when I'm surrounded by a bunch of people that don't know when to.
Well, you know just as well as I do that subterfuge is necessary for what we do. Especially when there are things at hand that you don't understand. None of you or your friends understand what is really going on.
So you do understand that there's a war coming on, enraged by the houses of Sean here, and that we also have people from the Realm of Madness coming in, trying to collapse our reality into the Realm of Madness. So I'm going to assume you know about all of that as well, on top of everything.
I don't know of any conflict between the houses other than the typical things. There was that bit of business that you and I were tasked with investigating, this carnival, which of course turns out to be nothing more than the drow from Zendrick attempting to place a foothold in the economy that House Lorandar has been had a...
Yeah, so you totally don't know about the submarine that they're building underwater that's supposed to be able to fly and submerge itself, that, you know, I'm pretty sure it's going to be used for a bit more than just traveling.
Oh, we know all about that. That's inconsequential now. What is more important is what I have been dealing with my friend Erstel here. Dear cousin Erstel, if you'd be so kind as to explain to Siggy exactly what you've been doing. And she gestures towards the man who is sitting a few feet away from you, and he sort of has one foot up, his boot resting against the other part of the couch, and he takes his boot off now, and he leans forward, his hands crossed, making a steeple in front of him, and he says, I've been working for Lady Growlhund as of late. I was hired by Lady Growlhund to find the Stone of Galore. It wasn't until recently I found out that the lady had been working through some sort of cult. A cult which is embedded within the cogs underneath Sharn. They call themselves the Cult of the Spiral, and many of our agents have gone missing in the cogs investigating them. Apparently this cult has some ties to the Zesh Guild, Of course, I'm sure you've heard of the issues between Baltimore Clan and the Zesh Guild.
I have.
And I know that you have been targeted by this cult. Are you aware of this?
Yes, if I recall, a bunch of cloaked people threw a fireball at us, and then I think it was Lady Growlin's matter that we went and got her put into custody for, I think. I can't remember. There's like 8 voices, it seems, trying to all rattle off at me at once inside my head.
Well, the whole business with the fireball was an unfortunate accident. Apparently a subcontractor working for Lady Growland got a bit overzealous. But to my understanding, it appears you and your friends have taken care of that subcontractor. And as Vivette has informed me, Lady Growland is currently in custody at the Citadel. That is not the issue that is the most pressing, though. What is since you and your ilk have come into possession of this Stone of Galore, this artifact, this cult of the Spiral are now attempting to hunt you down. And the man looks at you, and then he sort of side-eyes to Vivette, and Vivette nods her head and says, if you'll direct yourself, and he gestures with a hand towards the side of the interior of the cabin, and an oval porthole opens up, and staring through the porthole, you see what you can only assume is the southeastern part of the Caliston district. You see on the edge of the valley the bridge, the platform which lines the edge of the base of the towers. And you see a 2-story structure nestled within the edge of the neighborhood, and a rather unusual looking sky coach hovering just above it. And Floxen looks at you and says, observe. Does this look familiar to you? And as he gestures once again in the distance towards the sky coach, you suddenly hear the sound of thunder, and lightning suddenly is called down from above and blasts the exterior of the second floor of the dome tower of this old tower. And you watch as a large section collapses, and the crowd sort of disperses. The small crowd that there is around and below the area milling about on the bridge. And suddenly the sky coach rockets off towards the southeast, away from the structure. And you watch as it heads through the mist, over the edge of the bridge and down into the valley, and is gone. What you just witnessed is, or I should say, has been rumored to be an extension of the cult of the Spiral, known as the Spiral Hunters. These individuals have been hunting you down for quite some time. You've been playing into their hands, hunting down this artifact for them. And now that your friends have it in their possession, they will stop at nothing to find you, to find your friends. And they will do nothing. They will stop at nothing. And they will do whatever they can to free you of this artifact, to take it from you.
Well, you see, you know how I mentioned the group trying to dunk the world into the realm of madness? Well, you say cult of the Spiral. Well, the things that are leaving these ruins of a spiral are the ones trying to sink us into the realm of madness. So as far as I'm concerned, this cult of Spiral, their intentions is to put us into the realm of madness with some sort of phase shift, which this artifact just may be the reason that it all happens. So I think we're going to keep our hands as tightly on it as possible.
Well, your friends are scattered to the four winds at the moment. Our agents say that they have watched them for some time. It appears that they have fallen off the map, if you will. And the Serpentine Table has a task for you. Vivette and the elven male now gestures towards the fair-haired and somewhat alabaster-skinned elven woman who crosses her legs and pulls out a piece of parchment and says to you, "No tricks. We are all family here after all. Cousin Floxen, cousin Siegfried. This is a writ from the Baron herself. Baron Elvenor wishes for you to take on a new task, Siegfried. This business with our missing agents cannot go unpunished. We need you to go into the cogs and investigate their disappearance. Or at the very least, use your resources with your friends to follow the clues and hunt down this cult of the spiral for us and determine if their intentions are as they say."
Well, that shouldn't be too hard to persuade my friends. After all, I'm pretty sure they'd be fond of hunting the people hunting us. After all, how dare they? Especially Samael. Oh, I can just see the look on his face now. He will be grinning like a child in a candy.
Yes. And she now pulls something out from underneath on the side, this U-shaped couch which lines the walls, the interior of there. She pulls out a long object which is wrapped in silk, this silvery silk, and she pushes it a little closer to you and she says, "This belongs to one of your friends, I believe. I have no doubt that she will most likely want it back now. I have no use for it now. I spent some time with it, trying to understand what it was, realizing that it would more benefit her than it would myself. She and I have unfinished business, no doubt, but I am no thief." And as she hands the object to you, she reaches into her, near her neck, and she pulls out of a pouch within her tunic another bag, and she gestures with the bag and holds it out to you. "And this as well. This belongs to her as well."
I take it gently and I just softly say, if you try just to sit down and talk with her, it's not her fault, it's Nick's. And I'm sure if you sit down and talk with her and try to be humane about it instead of bickering at each other, she isn't too happy with you, but just give it a try. I know you're a spy, but you played your hand a bit too early. Maybe not the smartest, but come on, you're still a person, she's still a person. Just try to talk it out. It's fine if you're doing work and that's whatever, but this seems to be personal, and don't get personal involved in business.
Well, let's just say my personal connection to Nicholas and his wife were an extension of the greater good, this bit of business between us. I have been watching all of you for quite some time at the behest of the matron, especially when we found out that one of our own was traveling with a member of House Tharani. We had to, of course, investigate and find out exactly what your dealings were. For all we knew, you were attempting to leave the Order, leave House Fjarlin in hopes of becoming a member of our cousin's organization. And of course, we can't have that. Agents of the Serpentine Table leaving to work for the Shadow Network, that's just bad. It's bad manners. But now we know that is not the case, and that this simply fate has seemed to draw you two together. It is fortuitous.
Yeah, I would never work for an organization that sends a metal... What was it? A griffin in the middle of a street to deliver goods. That's
Well, be that as it may, we have to remain pleasant with our cousins in House Tharani. Since the schism, we are forbidden to move against them. You know this. But working with them isn't all bad. And perhaps these are the first steps towards healing what was broken. Be that as it may, if you would deliver these items to the Korovar cleric known as Zara Highhill, and you may offer apologies if you will. I doubt very much that she or Nicholas will accept them, but at least she will know that I am not interested in keeping her belongings any longer.
I'll come up with something. I'll say such as... So you weren't using it, she thought fit that maybe it could be on one of the agents that have gone missing to try to prevent their useless death. As a cleric, she must understand the safety of others.
Well, Ursula and I are going to head back to the Enclave. You are welcome to come with, rest up, clean yourself up, and perhaps we can assist you in hunting down your friends.
Siegfried pulls out his cleansing stone and uses it to cleanse himself, and he smiles at her. Well, it's already clean, and I'll take you up on that offer, seeing as I have no idea where they went. Like I said, there's like tons of things going on in my head trying to pull me in different directions. Not quite as fun, and I found out what it is, but stabbing yourself in the back isn't going to get you anywhere, is it?
Indeed. And Vivette reaches behind her and knocks on the wall, and a little aperture opens up, and you hear a gruff voice say, "Yes?" "Deagle, would you be so kind as to take us up to the Dragon Towers, please? We wish to return to the Demesne of Shadow." "Right away." And the aperture closes up with a hiss. And you feel this bit of acceleration, this pulling sensation in your stomach as you can feel the conveyance begins moving once again. And as you are whisked off through the mist, Agent Blackwater now leans towards you and says, "As you have no doubt, I'm sure, surmised, the Serpentine Table believes that this strange mist which has been enveloping Sean has everything to do with this cult of the spiral. And by hunting down and researching and finding these culprits, perhaps we can do something about it. I am in no way an altruistic person. My care for this matter is purely related to my care for our house, and the Serpentine Table has explained in no uncertain terms that this strange business is bad for our business. And as you say, if this cult is attempting to wreak havoc and has something to do with this realm of madness, as you say, this is definitely bad for business all around. It's not good for anyone. Anyone from this plane of existence.
I'll say this now. I've never seen the monsters that are in the Morning Land, but I have a feeling that some of them are like those realm of madness things. Goblins with tentacles and zombie-esque creatures. And there's one thing I promised myself. One thing that's personal to me is I will never allow something like that in the morning to happen to anyone. Whether I hate them or not, that is not something I desire to see. Massive amounts of land rendered useless. I will do anything in my power to stop the spiral. If there's even the tiniest potential that it turns into something devastating like the morning, if maybe even something worse than what happened at the morning.
Well, perhaps you and your friends can discover it together. And as she completes that sentence, you feel the acceleration beginning to slow down, and the blacked out windows now take on a dim coloration as they reveal that you are descending down a portal, and you can, looking out the windows, you see that you're descending into some sort of landing platform. And of course you remember this to be the personal landing platform of House Fjarlin at the Demesne of Shadow. And as you settle into the platform, the hatch opens up, stairway unfurls, and Erstal Floxen quickly exits the vehicle. And Vivette gestures towards you, Siegfried, and says, "After you."
Siegfried gets up and starts to slowly exit the vehicle, kind of stretching, all stuffy.
Looking around the platform, you see many individuals that are now hastily moving forward and checking every square inch of this vehicle. And you see a couple of them are holding out some sort of strange rod, and they're waving it over the exterior of this vehicle. And above, you can hear the pneumatic hiss and the loud sound of machinery whirring as you watch the portal in which you apparently descended is now closing overhead and latching shut. Vivette, who has now exited the vehicle, looks to you and says, "The Baron is waiting for all of us within her private chamber. But I know if you wish to take some time to check your quarters, which of course have been kept in your stead, you can collect yourself. And don't forget those items for your friend, of course."
Yeah, so put those in my bag. I will check my quarters, and then I'll meet you at our quarter.
"As you wish." And she turns around and walks away. And as she does, you watch her snap her fingers, and her outfit, which was of a long leathery coat, which is covering her outfit that you've seen her wear before, now turns into that of a garment of a housemaid. And she and Erstal head through the double doors leading into the interior of the Demesne of Shadow.
That is always so freaking cool, but definitely not my style. And he heads off to his old quarters.
Heading into the Demesne of Shadow, walking down the long, hallowed halls of this massive enclave, you find the familiar sign of your personal quarters, which you remembered. It's been quite some time since you have been inside. And as you approach the door, the side of the door, there is a plate made of mithril. And there is a sigil for House Fjarlin, which is set within the plate. And as you get close, it begins to glow, and arcane runes, as if sensing your presence, the door, you can hear a locking mechanism unlatches, and the door slides open, revealing the quaint and cozy chamber within. Looking around the room, you see a very neatly made bed. You see your dresser drawers off to the side. You see a dressing mannequin with a costume that you can remember from your time with the carnival. You see a large mirror with a dresser set aside, ringed on either side by the ever bright lanterns. And you can see a few musical instruments, which, even though it's been quite some time, do not appear to have picked up even a hint of dust or dirt. Your room appears to have been untouched since the last time you were here.
He runs his hand down his old carnival costume and lets out a sigh. The good old days. Well, might as well see if I left anything here that I may want to take with me. If not, I'll just on the bed, take a few deep breaths, and then head into her chambers. It's always weird being in those private.
As you settle into your room, after a while there is a slight knock on your door.
Yes, come in.
The door opens, and a young elven man wearing silver garments, simple waistcoat, enters and says, "Sir, Baron Elvenor has been calling for you."
Alright, let's not keep her any longer than we already have then. Sorry about that. Siegfried gets up, takes a breath, makes sure he has everything on him, and heads out the door to follow.
The elven man leads you down the twisting halls until you come back to the familiar chamber, which you remember before is mainly held for dances and other entertainment for the Baron, and then gestures off towards a hall branching to the side, leading into the private chambers of the Baron Elvenor. And as you enter the room, you see the familiar sight of the Baron in a beautiful purple gown, which tapers off at the end, seated in a very plush chair, and she is currently listening with an intent to Agent Floxen. And standing off to the side next to Baron, still wearing her housemaid garments, you see Vivette. And Floxen is saying, "Oh, there he is. Siegfried. As requested, we have brought him here." "Ah, yes. Mr. Lockhart, please have a seat."
Look, man, if I sit down, I'm not gonna have another crossbow bolt to my side, am I? And he winks over at Blackwater and the rest as he moves over and...
And the Baron tilts her head to the side a bit quizzically and then sort of laughs and says, "Well, Vivat and Erstal, of course, I'm sure, no doubt have clued you into why you've been recalled and what we wish for you to do for the Serpentine Table."
Yes, and it quite frankly falls into personal missions as well as what my fellow adventurers also have in their best interest.
Well, though your friends are still, as Vivette mentioned, in the wind, running from your pursuers, I have no doubt that they are protected for now. Your signet ring, have you attempted to use it to contact them?
Not yet. I figured in the presence of everyone it'd be safer to contact them on the way back.
Very well. The Baron looks at you and says, "For this task, you are going to need to prepare yourself. The cogs are a rough place, and no doubt your prey will be watching your every move. Once you descend down into the cogs, they will find you quickly. You are free to use whatever means that you deem necessary to accomplish your goals, but as it stands, your main goal is to find out what this cult wants with this artifact, this stone of galore that I've heard about. And once you find out what their intentions, you must do everything within your power to prevent it. I'm sure a resourceful person such as yourself should have no problem with accomplishing this task. If you give us a day, our agents within the Serpentine Table will attempt to track down your friends for you.
Yes, and I ask after this search in the corner, and I do have a ring that I can contact them with to find out where they are, which is a bit faster than your day with that.
Siegfried, as you gesture with your ring, staring at it, you notice something that you hadn't noticed before. There appears to be a crack running down the middle of the crystal which is embedded within the ring. A crack that you didn't notice before.
Appears my ring's cracked. Hopefully that only means fuzzy call.
That is a symbol of the Esoteric Order of Orion. I assume you have dealings with them?
Siegfried smiles. You could say that. They're the ones that knew that we had returned from the realm of madness before anyone else almost. They were waiting for us when we got...
Well, I have no doubt that your friends at the Order will be able to assist you with repairing that ring, no doubt. It seems important It looks like a sending ring, is it not?
It is. It allows access to call anyone in the order that has a ring. All I simply have to do is say their name.
So you always bring me such wonderful toys to inspect. First your loot, and now this lovely ring. Well,
Oh, the loot has also changed.
oh, it has. Well, that is. You are quite resourceful indeed. You must tell me where you get these wonderful toys someday.
Well, most of them are personal dealings.
In regards to the other matter, the business that I sent you on with Agent Blackwater, this apparently the Sea Maiden's Fair, as it has been explained to me, has taken upon themselves to hold the Norman artificer known as Dimble Timbers as an honored guest. And when I say honored, I mean they captured him and threw him in one of their ships, which is anchored out in the Hilt in the river.
Oh, yes, I saw him personally. They're using him to make the, wheel for the ship. What do you call it? I can't remember at the moment. The steering wheel, basically, but without needing any spirits to run it.
Yeah, the elemental binding. Yes. Dimble was, to my knowledge, instrumental in helping House Lorandar establish their power. He was the one who designed the ship's wheel. Apparently, he has designed another one for these Volcurian drow from Zendrick. But that is of no consequence now. What is important now is finding out what is going on with this cult and determining whether or not their ill intentions are going to exacerbate things. We've already lost too many agents attempting to ascertain what their true intentions are. And I have a feeling that sending you on this task may very well be a suicide mission for you. But I know you, Siegfried. I know you're resourceful. And your colorful band of friends, you have no doubt what we need.
I have a question. Have you heard of something called the Chrono Anvil?
I'm sorry. The what?
I'm saying it right, Jeremy. The Chrono Anvil, the thing they used to travel back in time.
You're talking about the Chrono Forge?
Yes, the Chrono Forge. See, he had a man that claimed that he traveled back using that. And he said that the world was starting to be put into the realm of madness, and that in a year from now, all the clans were at war with each other.
So, you claim to have met someone from the future.
That's what he claims. I couldn't detect any deceit from him, but it's too hard to rule out, and it's too hard to fully trust at the same time. Because even if he did come to the future, the fact that he would tell the complete truth as well, it just... There's a lot of variables, but I can't just throw it to the wind.
Well, I know not of this Chrono Forge that you speak of, and I certainly know not of any sort of arcane device or magic for that matter that could possibly allow someone to travel through time. That sounds fantastical even by the standards of our world that we live in. But stranger things have happened, and I have no doubt that if this individual claims to be from this future time, you and your friends will be able to ascertain if he is telling the truth, he or she.
It's like that we also keep an eye on the clans. Not hostile, but I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on, and the tensions seem to be going really, really tight right now. And especially since I've heard a lot of unrest with houses going to the cogs.
Well, the cogs have always had unrest, my friend. The workers, they do not like the Warforged, and the Warforged, for the most part, many of them live down in the cogs. Their constitution allows them to work for long hours without needing rest, like most individuals that have historically worked down there. Perhaps in investigating this business, this cult of the spiral, you can find out if it has anything to do with this unrest.
Very well. Is there anything else?
No, feel free to rest and tend to your room. I'm sure it's been a while since you've been back, and you'd wish to have a good rest while our agents attempt to find your friends for you. Might take us a day, but I have no doubt it shouldn't take longer than that.
Alrighty. I could use a good nap. It's been a long day, even though it's still pretty short, and pretty sure they did a lot without me because I kind of got lost now anyways. But nonetheless, I feel like I've earned it for now.
Indeed. Well, if there's nothing else, I will give you your leave. Feel free to contact me if you need anything.
Thank you. I will. And with that, Siegfried gets up, does a bow, and then proceeds to walk off and kind of glare at Blackwater to the side of his eyes, give a smile, and keep walking.
Blackwater gives you a wink and a nod of their head. Siegfried, as you exit the Baron Elvenor's main chamber and pass through the audience chamber, you spend several hours in and around the Enclave, tending to your room, checking your equipment, checking the items that Blackwater gave to you to give to your friend Zara. And for the rest of the day, you spend some time just relaxing and thinking about your friends, thinking about all of these revelations that have been brought to you. You rest on into the next day. Very little transpires other than feeding yourself and cleaning your equipment and checking your pack and ensuring that all of your items are accounted for.
And tuning my lute.
Tuning your instrument. And after a day and a half goes by, you are summoned once again to the chambers of the Baron Elvenor. This time, the Baron is by herself. Agents Floxen and Agents Blackwater are not within the chamber. And on the morning of Sol, the Baron stares at you. A little bit of fresh incense burning in the room, and says, "My friend, have a seat."
I sit down. Always refreshing to see you, Baron. Always so beautiful.
And you, Mr. Lockhart? Always so dashing and polite. In regards to your friends, our agents canvassed the city. We, of course, checked at your manor within Cliffside. Unfortunately, your friends never returned to the manor. And as we have put out our feelers into the wind, so to speak, we have determined that your friends have been staying at the in Mithril Towers at the Order of Orion's Enclave, the Orion Tower. They have not left. Since they went to that place. Except for maybe one or two of them have exited the Enclave to go on a trip or two. That's actually how we were able to ascertain that they had gone to the tower. Apparently one of them was observed purchasing some supplies. Yeah.
It makes sense with, after all, the whole thing that sent us out on the trip was a fireball in front of the house. It makes perfect sense that going after a fight like that they wouldn't want to go back home. Somewhere more well protected makes sense. I'm actually proud of them, making a smart decision with that. Plus, if you can't find him, and I have to go there anyways to fix this ring, so it works out pretty well either way.
Indeed. Well, now you know your destination, no doubt. You will wish to get there as quickly as possible. The house's private conveyance can take you there if you wish. Unless you have some other means of conveyance that you wish to take.
He doesn't have as comfy as chairs, and I don't do it in luxury for this point. Plus, Mr. R deserves a rest or two, even though he's a warforged. He's really earned his keep.
I know not of this Mr. R that you speak of. Well, I will leave you. I will leave you to your task at hand then. If you need anything at all, please feel free to reach out to us.
I will, and Siegfried gets up and bows again. I look forward to our next meeting, and let's hope it's not one with me missing an arm or two.
Well, that would be unfortunate, Mr. Lockhart.
I'm going to be able to play my loot for you properly. And he starts to the door.
Passing through the familiar halls of the Enclave, you make your way up towards the landing platform, and there waiting once again is the long black sky coach, which resembles an arrowhead in shape. And as you approach, the hatch opens once again, and as you enter into the vehicle, that smell, that scent of sweet flowers sort of wafts out of the interior of the cabin of the vehicle. The door closes again, and a little aperture opens up towards the front of the vehicle, and a familiar gruff voice from the other day says, "All right, where can I take you?"
Deagle, right? We're going to Orion Tower.
Orion Tower? Very well. Hold on to your butt.
And the vehicle immediately begins ascending, not waiting for the dome to open. And as it gets closer to the dome suddenly springs open like a bear trap. And you are thrust out in the morning sun, gleaming, filtered through the dim light of the windows on the sides of the cabin on either side. And the cabin windows now suddenly go dark as the vehicle begins rocketing out over the Dragon Towers district. And passing through the city, you find yourself watching this miasma, this fog, which has gripped the city for so long, curling around the towers and like hands gripping them. As you get up to the upper ward section and get closer towards Mithril Towers, you see the familiar sight of the dark obsidian tower hanging over the district. And you see a platform on one side, familiar, jutting out. And the vehicle gets closer, rocketing towards the tower, and coming to an abrupt stop, landing, swinging out, fishtailing, and landing in a 180, and coming to a rest on the landing platform. The aperture at the front of the vehicle opens once again, and the gruff voice says,
"There you go. If there's nothing..."
Siegfried exits and nods. Thank you very much. That's all I'll be needing for the day.
All right, very well. I shall be off. Have a good day, Mr. Lockhart.
You as well, Deagle.
And the aperture closes. The hatch closes as you exit this arrow-shaped sky coach, and you watch as it disappears into the mist off in the distance. You turn around, your bag slung over your shoulder in one hand, your loot slung over your other shoulder, and the carefully wrapped package, this long object hefting your arm as you begin to head in proper into the main Great Hall chamber of Orient Tower, seeking out your friends. And that is where we're going to end for today.